Good.
Boot.
Someone welcome them while I come
Hey,
back.
everybody.
There we go. There we go.
I was waiting for it to pop up on here.
Yeah.
Would you look at that?
They already have it though.
Would you just look at it?
Happy Whiskey Monday, everyone. We are doing this tonight on Monday instead of Wednesday due to the holiday midweek. A little bit, I don't know, more congested during the week.
Yeah.
The holiday. I mean, third, here in Columbus, Ohio, for those of you that aren't in Columbus, Ohio, there's a major firework celebration on the 3rd every year, which happens to be Whiskey Wednesday this week, and then obviously a lot of people are traveling, so we wanted to get it out there. So if you guys don't get to tune in tonight, hopefully you're watching this or you'll be listening to this on the audio sometime during the week at your convenience, but that's part of the beauty of it. But hopefully we can start the week with you here. You guys, if you want to talk briefly or just bullshit for a second, because I'm going to share to my normal groups to see if we can get an audience here.
Like 30.
Yeah, something like that.
No, I'm doing the same thing too.
So we got Dustin and Nate on. Jake is out of town. He is at his happy place. If you go back last year around this time, he is at Norris Lake, which is definitely his favorite place on earth. It is his Disneyland.
That's an understatement.
It's an understatement.
It's a very, very big understatement.
Yeah. I mean, it looks beautiful, but yeah.
Nate, how's your weekend? How was your weekend?
Worked at the shop Saturday. Got a haircut. Worked at the shop. It was kind of a off and on day.
Saturday?
Yeah. I think the heat, 90 some degrees plus having Comfest into that weekend kind of made things a little bit slower. But then yesterday was a good day. After church, my wife and I went to the gun range. And
Nice.
Yep, that was a birthday present that she bought me last year. It was a range membership. So
What range?
Blackwing.
Okay. I've heard of it.
Yep, they also do a Bourbon and Bullets event that they did the first time a couple months ago.
I'm pretty sure I remember you mentioned it once before.
Yeah.
The two I don't think go well together. Yeah, they do, but they don't.
In that order,
so
bullets and then bourbon.
Yes.
Yeah, bullets and then bourbon. Yes.
Yes. So
Reverse order, no.
Yeah. So basically, everyone shot 2 poker hands on target. So everyone got 5 shots. Then you had the targets with 52 playing cards, and it was the winner. So whoever shot the best 5-card hand got to shoot the machine gun of their choice.
So was this handgun?
Yes, you were shooting handguns, all 9mm at 25 feet.
Okay.
Ran into Bob Rader.
Keeps it fair.
Yeah. And I was the only person that actually brought my own handgun. Or not the only person who brought my own, but I'm the only person that shot my own because I had my EDC with me. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this because that's what fits most comfortable in my hand. I was actually 1 shot away from nailing a straight flush.
Nice.
That damn 7.
7 will get you.
Yeah.
All right, we ready to do this?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Now that we're, a couple minutes in, since I was too busy posting, we're 3 minutes in. All right, living life on vacation. We got a handful of people on board. What's up, Bernie? What's up, Jim? What's up, Alexander Rice? Kevin King from down south. Nook is watching. We mentioned that.
Hey!
Still out in Vegas.
Right.
Nook, we're going to be doing one of your cigars tonight, so hopefully you guys are having a good time out there. So
I picked
without
Chele.
further ado, and it's hot as balls here. 90 degrees. Don't.
Wow.
They can't
spread
see.
that.
They can't see that on camera.
Yeah, they saw something.
Yep. Yeah, no, just literally looked like you were. Yeah.
Dustin, you want to do a clingy or something tonight? You want to kick it off, and then I'll lead us in.
Yep.
All right.
Let me know when.
We are. Happy Whiskey Monday, everyone. We are coming to you live from the garage tonight. Special night of the week because of the holiday midweek. And we wanted to do it what works best for everyone, but I will say there was one vote. Well, with Jake out and you guys both available, Dustin and Nate, one vote actually kind of had more. You called it a super delegate.
Super delegate, yeah.
Liz. really wanted to do something on Wednesday night for the holiday. So
yeah, that.
And we did. We had about, what was it, like, it was like closer to like 60-40,
yeah.
you know, for Wednesday. But honestly, I noticed that a lot of the local Columbus and mid-Ohio guys were for Monday, because there is a lot going on midweek here in Columbus, Ohio.
You got Red, White, and Boom on Wednesday, which is one of the largest fireworks displays in the country. It
is. And it's a great event. I don't want to go down there, but we are going to be going down that direction because I don't want to deal with the traffic. I don't want to pay $100 for an Uber ride.
Yeah.
All these things. Basically, I'm old, is where I'm at on this. So
you and we hate traffic.
Yeah.
And we hate, just standing in crowds when it's 90-some degrees.
Yeah. Well, one of our friends has a reservation at a place down there, and I don't even know if you can see the fireworks, but it's at Lincoln Social. So Rob Kendall is doing that. So I'm going to be going down there. Hopefully, it is a good time. I'm sure it will be. But so yeah, that's why we're doing this Monday night, and we've got Dustin Bovey, who has been on obviously countless times on the show, and that is normally behind the camera. He was able to get away somehow with the new store he's working at, and with the new house, and the new fiance, and the
little one, and
everything. Just knew everything basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Southwest commercial. Want to get away?
Yeah, want to get away? Come to the podcast.
Yeah.
No, it's great to have him on. And like I said, Jake is away. If you guys are watching the Facebook Live or the Facebook video or the YouTube video, we've already talked about this, but on the audio, Jake is at Norris Lake, which is his happy place, which we wish him and his family and Alicia and her family great times down there, because everyone does need a vacation here and again. And safe travels, absolutely. Hopefully good weather too. And then
absolutely.
Nate Hale on, who was on recently as well in Jake's absence when he was working at the other job. And he was kind enough tonight to bring a couple of things, which we've basically thrown the whole rye rules out the window at this point, because it's
not just any rye. Like I think if I'd have brought that Bullet 12, you'd have been like, maybe not that one, or like the Russell single barrel.
Yeah. There was a time that we were not going to do a rye when it was above, like I said, like 50 degrees.
Yeah.
The
threshold was 55.
It's now pushing 8 o'clock, and it's 89 degrees out still.
But there's a reason.
Above.
We talked about that the last time I brought it. Why I might bring it back when it was warm.
Yeah, because it's lighter.
It is, because initially I bought it in June of last year, and that's when you guys implemented, hey, we're not going to drink rye when it's warm. So then we drank it in February.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is really light. Like, why?
It's really light. So now we're going to see it.
Why did we save this?
I haven't poured it in my glass yet. I'm actually sipping on some rum, kind of doing the whole tropical thing. Which I was sweating like this in like Cuba or on a beach somewhere.
If you're in the tropics,
anywhere really other than my garage would be nice. Although I like my garage, it's just hot.
Somewhere with
hot as fuck.
Nice bit of water.
Maybe and beach. Girls in bikinis would be nice.
It's usually an added bonus.
I specify girls in bikinis because it's 2019. You never know.
Yeah.
So.
No one wants to see this in bikini.
Nope, that's for sure. Our topic tonight is what the fuck is your problem? And we're gonna dive into that.
What the fuck is yours?
I got a lot of problems, but it's not always. It's not going to be a completely negative thing. There's definitely some things from it, and we'll explain it a little bit further. But as you guys are listening to the first part of this, and you get to the topic portion, topic time. Basically, it's going to be, and I will, what's up, Rusty, on Facebook. It's going to be based off of a couple examples of some social media posts, and then also maybe a review or two. It's going to start the conversation with the whole Yelp or Google review, or just social media side of things of going places, being in public, basically, being among the other several billion people in the world, as opposed to being by yourself, and going forward with that. So we'll get into that. I do want to thank our sponsors. Stay tuned for updates on sponsorships going forward. But our sponsors tonight, Tinder Box at Easton, they are providing the CLE Chele, which is a great milder smoke. We'll get into that here momentarily as well. and then also Altadis USA, Romeo Julieta, Montecristo, Upman, Butera,
Onyx,
Trinidad.
SLR, Trinidad. Yeah, list goes on. They've actually got some great stuff coming up from the IPCPR, which is where all the reps are. Oh yeah,
check it out.
they've got a lot of anniversary and commemorative stuff coming out, so I'm looking forward to that. And then obviously the BS Cigar Company. We have the 3 sizes of the silver back in. Actually 2 sizes as of now. The other one hopefully will get back in here shortly. But we do have the new, which was an event only, which was the BS Silver Robito, which Eric Espinosa and Hector did for us for the event. We talked about that in episodes past, and they were able to continue this project. So it's the only one that's has a foot ribbon around it, but we're very happy to get it back in, and it's smoking very, very well. I don't know if you guys have smoked one yet since they've arrived.
I have not. I've been saving those for the customers.
Well, we got 500 of them, so we're all right.
All right.
We're all right. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. How's your week been, guys?
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, just started, so.
Well, I mean, since last week or whatever.
Yeah. Just busy with work, having a little bit of fun when I can. Just bought a car last weekend, so.
Congrats.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
I got a 2012 Chevy Cruze.
There you go.
The best part about it was literally, after test driving it and talking with the guy and everything, wrote him a check.
That's a great feeling, isn't it?
Y'all, because my wife and I, we have not had a car payment in 8 years. So
That's unique these days.
yes, it is
Very much so.
But that's just the way we do things. Didn't want to have a car payment, so just looking for something inexpensive to get back and forth to work. Not looking at something to drive across country in really. So it was I actually bought it off a guy that works at the company, and because our company actually has a website where employees can post different things that they're
Like a
selling.
marketplace.
Yeah,
That's
but
nice.
just for the employees and contacting them about it, and so.
Oh, yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Dustin, house is coming along well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're making headway. I say we, but Kathy's the one who's been doing a vast majority of the work. And to say she's doing a phenomenal job would be a huge understatement.
Nice. The house looked great when I was there last week.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. She has painted our bedroom, Cadence's room, which Cadence's room is a little bit unique. It's purple around all the main walls, and then there's the one far wall that's got a diagonal line, and one half is like a seafoam blue, and the other half is like a light pink.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the accent walls, basically.
Yeah,
I
pretty
like
much,
that.
but
I like
it's
that.
all on
I like
the
that a lot.
same wall.
Nice.
She painted the dining room, and now I got home today, and she was working on the living room and had probably a good third, almost half of that already painted and getting ready to put on the second coat.
Jeez.
So, and
Keep them busy.
also she's redone the front flower beds for
Yeah.
all the weeds, which I know I've
Also looks great, yeah.
showed you pictures of it. There's
Yeah.
thistles taller than Cadence.
So what have you been doing?
Working.
No, I know that. I know.
Mowing the yard. I feel like I've not done much of anything.
That's how it works though
In
sometimes.
comparison-
She's
Well,
at the house,
I
right?
feel terrible. Yeah, she's at the house. Every once in a while she'll run home, pick up stuff. She made a trip back home on
To her
past-
folks' place?
this
Okay.
past Thursday morning.
Yeah.
To pick up some more clothes.
Yeah.
Cadence had dance rehearsal and auditions for the competition team,
Nice.
which she is on the competition team now.
Fantastic.
So yeah, she'll be doing. I think they're going to decide. They'll have her do a couple classes and then kind of decide what her strongest suit's going to be. I think it's going to be something to do with like jazz.
Nice.
So that'll be really
So
cool.
no dull moments basically
No,
in the old Bovey household.
no dull moments.
I
No
like it.
rest for the wicked.
Good. I asked Dustin before, I was like, so how are you sleeping? So I feel like people don't ask that when all that shit's going on, you know? It's like, how's everything going? Like, what's you been up to? And then it's like, the question is, how are you sleeping? Because that's really, I think, what
Probably very
gets you through
How
it,
and
though.
then
there's
When?
how and how much.
Yeah.
I'm assuming maybe not that much.
I hope it's
but
yeah,
well.
Yeah, I hope it will.
I'm getting some sleep. The weekend was busy with work and getting stuff done at the house, but also a bit stressful. Grandmother was in the hospital. She's still there.
We'll send you best wishes there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. She had a stroke, so she's still recovering from that. But luckily, she's no longer in ICU.
Good.
So still at the hospital, but slow recovery. But the doctors seem hopeful, so that's good.
And with all that, it's time to celebrate 4th of July, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys going to fireworks? Anyone out there going to fireworks?
I'm not.
No.
I love fireworks, but I love shooting off fireworks.
Well, sure.
So.
I closed Thursday night. I'm gonna slip out a little bit early. That's Johnstown's fireworks.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna take Cadence to see those.
Very good.
Yeah, she loves fireworks. Doesn't like the sound at first, and then
Gets used to it by the
Yeah.
just overall sensory overload.
yeah, and then all the pretty colors and
Pretty colors.
Yep.
What about Tinder Box? What's going on the 4th with Tinder Box?
Well, I mean, so for those of you that are Tinder Box customers, Tinder Box at Easton, we are open normal hours on Wednesday night, and then we're also open on the 4th, and it's going to be 10 to 5 p.m. So last minute holiday cigars, whatever you're doing, and then we're back open normal business hours on Friday. Yeah, I took my car in this week for a little bit of work, and they're like, it should be 3 to 4 days, but we are closed on Thursday, and we also are closed on Friday and the weekend. I'm like, I'll get it next week. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. That's poor timing on my part. I scheduled this like a few weeks ago, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, fuck, I should have waited till next Monday.
Thanks for that heads up.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
But, so let's get into this. Enough small talk here. If you guys need to contact us, you can contact us on any of the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram. It's also bourbonbspodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, that's it. So Nate is going to be filling in for this part of it, at least for Jake here on the Masterson, since you're the one that brought it. We've had this before, as we mentioned. I think I've taken one sip of it so far, but give us a little quick rundown if you would.
So anyone who may or may not remember, we featured this back on episode 53. So that was back in February when it was very, very cold, as it usually is February in Ohio.
I can see sweat in my dark shirt on the video.
Maybe we need to put
It's
the
a
bottles
little
in front
warmer.
of you.
It's a little warmer.
It is. But I bought the bottle June of last year to bring on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week I ended up bringing the Russell's Reserve Ohio pick. And you and Jake implemented the policy that if it's over 70, we're not doing ryes.
Yeah, and
So-
I pushed for 50.
You were more of a 50 kind of guy. So I had held on to it for a while, and then back in February for episode 53, finally brought it on. And it's the reason we waited, especially for this one, is it's a 10-year straight rye. So with what we had before with ryes, we were just expecting a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to sweat when it was 90 degrees, even though you're going to sweat when you're
Yeah, I'm sweating at this point regardless.
And so when we were drinking it back in February, the three of us looked around at each other and were like, this is actually kind of light. Like, why did we wait till February to drink this? So I thought, hey, let's see if it's something that we actually can drink and enjoy when it is warmer. Now, when I said that, I wasn't planning on it being 90 when we brought it back.
At least it's not raining, which I guess it would be better if it did rain because of the humidity might break. Well, I just felt a breeze.
Yeah. Maybe there was a mouse that farted out.
Yeah, it could have been.
But yeah, so if you want the full rundown of what we talked about, episode 53. So it's Masterson's 10-year-old straight rye. It actually comes out of Canada. It's bottled at 90 proof.
Which timeout today is?
Canada Day, yeah.
It is Canada Day. It's also called Bobby Bonilla Day because of a unique sports contract that Bobby Bonilla
Are you
signed.
familiar with this?
I feel like I've heard it before.
Yeah, when he explains it, you'll know this. And
So-
I want to get lined up with that as it's like doing this.
Yeah,
It'd be
so
great.
so Bobby Bonilla is a retired professional baseball player, and the last contract he ever signed was a deferred contract. So he didn't take his money then. He was going to take it later after he retired, so that way his team could stay under the salary cap and not have to pay the luxury tax. So every year on July 1st until 2035, Bobby Bonilla gets paid $1.1 million.
Something, yeah, it's over one.
Yeah. So he's been retired. He's been retired from baseball for over a decade, and he gets.
How long is this fucking contract?
So it's like, instead of say $20 million a year or whatever, whatever it is, he basically was like, no, I'm gonna take this up front, and then I'm also gonna take this back end part of the deal where it's like a trickle thing.
Yeah.
$1 million is a trickle thing because there's
so instead of a $35 million contract, he's going to do a $35 million.
Well, we got like maybe a signing bonus.
Yeah, $1 million a year for the next 35 years.
Yeah.
So.
And also, my understanding, and I'm gonna butcher this part of it. Maybe you know more, Nate, or people out there. The owners of the Mets at the time were investing with Bernie Madoff. You didn't know that part?
I forgot that part. But
I'm pretty sure that's the inaccurate part of this story is that they're not only did they lost a shit ton of money through all that bullshit that happened. So the whole thing was good for him.
Yes, it worked out very well for him. It will continue to work out well for him for the next 16 years.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad.
So
not a bad way to live.
And happy Canada Day for everyone.
Yes. So we had the Masterson's rye, like I said, 10-year straight rye, 90 proof. When I bought it a year ago at Wyland's here in Columbus, it was $70 a bottle.
$69.99, right?
And yes, it is now $74.99. So it's gone up $5 in the last year.
And what are we comparing this to? This is a 100% rye?
It's 100% rye.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yep. And so I'd actually been thinking about this for a while, was comparing this to another rye. And so I also brought the Ezra Brooks straight rye. It's also 100% rye.
Yes.
It's also bottled at 90 proof.
Yeah.
And if our viewers can see, the colors are actually very similar. The Ezra's
Dustin, you see that?
Ezra's just a shade darker.
Ezra's a little bit darker.
If you look
a
at
little deeper amber tone.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom of the bottle, so that way you're not getting any of the shadow from the label. I mean, they're very close in hue. The big two differences between these: Masterson's 10-year, Ezra Brooks 2-year, and then Masterson's is $75 on the shelf. And when Ezra Brooks was on the shelf in Ohio, it was $20 a bottle. And
wow.
The state of Ohio last year created what they call a last call store. So there are now 3 of them in the state of Ohio. One in Columbus, one in Cincinnati, and I believe the other is in
Toledo.
Toledo? Yep.
Yeah.
And so everything that the state has that is being discontinued or they are no longer going to bring in and carry on the shelves goes to one of those 3 stores, and it's all up to 40% off.
They're doing a special this week for the holiday, actually.
Yes, this week all 3 of those they basically have a tier system. The more expensive the bottle, the more discount you get on it. So normally at the last call store, this Ezra Brooks, instead of $20 a bottle, it's $15, and this week with tax it is $13.
You got a $70 bottle on the table, and you got all intents and purposes
20, so 75 and a $20 bottle.
30 or 13.
Yeah.
Call it 13.
Call it 13.
Because you bought that today.
I bought that. Well, not that one.
That one.
Yes.
You bought 2 today.
I bought 2 today.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So one of the calls that I see is, we talk about the color, how it's very close. The Ezra is just a slight shade darker.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, also it all depends on the aging process, but the longer a whiskey is aged, theoretically, the darker it is going to be because it's pulling so many sugars and so much of the char from the barrel.
Yes.
The fact that the Masterson's is 8 years older versus the Ezra, but yet has a lighter hue, lighter shade in coloring than the Ezra, leads me to believe that, one, it's Canadian, obviously, is like what you said, so colder climate.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So the aging
The rick
process,
houses, yeah. Mm-hmm.
aging process for that you may go 8 or 10 years, but color wise, it'll still be the same as like a normal 2 year.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ezra Brooks, it might only be 2 years, but they could have stored that somewhere in the middle to the upper floors of the brick house.
And then, like I said, this comes out of Canada, but is actually bottled in California. So
correct,
but it's
aged
in
Canada.
Canada.
Do we know what part of Canada? Do we have this?
No, it just says product of Canada, and since Canada's the square footage, the largest country, there's a lot of places.
Well, I mean, so yeah, we're drinking that for Canada Day and for this, and then obviously Ezra Brooks says right on there, America.
Yes.
American of.
Genuine American made.
That's right. So that's 4th of July right there.
Yes.
So, yeah. So what do you guys think? Dustin, what do you think of this one? You had this before.
Were you on when we had the...
I had it before. I don't know that I was on when we had it the original time. Honestly, so
I'm pretty sure you were.
I might have been.
Because when I actually went back to watch the video, at the start of the video, me, Jake, and Steve are already sitting around the table. So that you had to be there to turn the camera on when we started.
Well, but I could have just been sitting around the camera.
I'm sure you got tipped into it. Yeah.
I'm sure I got a nip.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And because it was a $70 bottle, we didn't want to kill it that night.
Correct.
So
right.
this time around, I don't care. we can kill it. I don't care.
What are you thinking, Dustin?
So my thoughts. So before I dipped into this a little bit before I lit up my cigar.
Okay.
And before Nate lit up his, and really anyone.
Yeah. I think I was last.
So I'm going to do the weird note of the night.
All right.
Off the
Hold
nose,
it down for Jake Sanders here.
Off the nose, and it was really intriguing. Right off the rip was a peach apricot type sweetness, fruitiness to it. You took the nose, you're like, oh yeah, you can smell the heat. And I took the nose, and I didn't really get a lot of that. Now, fast forward a little bit. After I lit up the cigar, and you kind of get that aroma in the air a little bit. Nose it again, I get a lot more of that spice, a little bit more of that heat because it's pulling a lot of that pepper out of it.
So you're still on the nose, or you use this after a sip?
No, well, this is after a sip.
Okay.
So you get a slight spice with it, with the peach apricot off the nose, and then it kind of comes a little bit more apparent. Now you get a little bit of like a creme brulee type
sweetness.
Sweetness.
And this is before the cigar.
No, the creme brulee would be after the cigar.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Now, taste wise, before I started smoking the cigar, was like a bright vanilla caramel. So it wasn't like a deep, smooth richness. It was more of like a vibrant type vanilla caramely note. It was kind of like caramel praline ice cream type deal.
I still don't know what praline tastes like.
It's like nut.
Yeah, that's probably what I don't know.
Yeah.
Candy, basically. That's what it says. Kind of like a caramely toffee.
Okay.
With a hint of black pepper, almost like a red cayenne pepper.
You're all over this thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely got some spice to it.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of sweetness up front. I also get a lot of that oakiness to it.
Okay.
But I mean, the last time we had this, so when I was talking to Steve over the last couple of weeks about what to bring on, this was one of them, and I'd actually thought of a couple cigars to smoke with this. The CLE Chele was one of them because when I brought it on back in February, I think we had smoked the Al Bradley Esteli, the Black Market Esteli, I believe.
That's what we did with this?
I believe.
Okay.
And that cigar is not a full body cigar, but it overpowered this rye by a lot.
Yeah.
Like we had trouble tasting the rye when we were smoking the cigar. So I wanted a milder cigar so that way we could taste this rye a little bit better.
Sure. Well, I mean, I everything that Dustin said, I mean, I think you nailed it as far as kind of walking us through all that stuff. I get that heat, and I see what you're saying with like the vanilla side of it, or like that caramel almost, like a.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say butterscotch, but it's kind of flirting with that. I mean,
Werther's.
Yeah, fucking Werther's Originals.
Yeah.
Hey, you want a hard candy?
I forgot to bring them. I should have brought them.
Did I say that last time? I've said it before.
You may have.
I might have been the episode. Anyways, I get that. I get a little bit like with like that. The heat is almost like a. It's not really cinnamon, but it's like a minty. Like there is like a it's
spearmint.
Like a. I don't know if it is spearmint. I'm trying to like think of like that vanilla, but like with a little bit of a spice to it. You know what I mean? Like a creamy vanilla, or like a
vanilla bean.
Yeah, vanilla bean.
A little bit of a bite.
A little bit. Maybe that's
not,
it. Yeah, maybe that.
That's where that like I got a little bit of that heat, like that black pepper. It's not it's not so harsh.
Yeah.
But it's enough to like put an edge on it, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it gives it some character.
It does.
And I actually think
very light for a rye, but I think that's where that 90 proof kind of kicks in.
It is, and I think that I actually taste more out of it now than we did 5 months ago when it was.
Well, and I think that has something to do with the Chile.
That could be as well.
I think it does. Because again, Dustin, I appreciate what you said, because I mean, you definitely, like I said, walking us through like the experience of if you can't get your hands on this and a Chile, but I mean, kind of how it did change. You know what I mean? Before lighting the cigars, the nose of it, I didn't get as much fruit from it, but I'm terrible at the smell part of it. But as far as once you light the cigar, I will say this: I think, Nate, when you suggested this cigar and this whiskey as one of the options coming on today. And again, thank you both for being here with Jake being gone. This is extremely helpful. I know it's helpful for all these guys to be able to do this, everyone listening out there, but for me to be able to do it and not just sit here by myself and talk to no one. But
well, hey, you know me.
Which I do on a regular basis.
I'm pretty sure you could hold down the fort by yourself if you really wanted.
It would definitely go to one viewer within.
I'd still be viewing on the other side of the camera, so.
Steve would just be sitting here the whole time going, "Hi, Ma."
Yeah. Well, she's not tuning in anymore, so. But I will. I saw that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's who? Paula.
Yep. Hi, Ma.
But with the Chile, I mean, going into this, you kind of alluded to that, Dustin, and Nate, since Dustin did that, I'll have you, if you want to, describe the cigar with this. Because I have my opinions. I'm sure Dustin could, he was focusing more on the whiskey, but I mean, unless we have more to talk about with this one, because I'm gonna go to the Ezra Brooks next, just to kind of have a contrast.
Yeah. Well, so one of the reasons I picked this cigar, the CLE Chele, was. It is mild, but it's got some flavor to it. It's got a little bit there. It's not like some mild cigars that I've talked about in shops before. It's like sucking on a McDonald's straw for an hour. There's more to it than that. And
why McDonald's straw?
Because it's larger than
because of the big ring gauge on those straws and just how much air you get through. There are some cigars that are so mild.
Have they not gone to paper straws anywhere, like even in California?
They probably have in California or something.
They're probably still the size of a goddamn quarter.
Which is great for a milkshake.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But this is actually one of my top 3 mild cigars.
Really?
This is one of those cigars that on a Saturday morning when I get to the shop, this is one of those that I will grab with a cup of coffee from Jennings Java and smoke the two of those together.
Yeah.
Well, smoke this and drink the coffee together.
Yeah. We know what you meant.
It's just the Jennings Java from Fidel Irish Pub at Easton.
Yeah. So whichever one they
golden espresso.
Is that what they do?
Yeah. And I mean,
this would be beautiful with their city roast.
Okay. I've never had.
Which is comparatively explain that, like, because like everyone. So if you guys tune in, Jennings Java, we've had AJ Kasmerzak on before, and he is one of the guys behind Jennings Java.
Mm-hmm.
So and Dustin, I know you order from them.
A lot.
Yeah. So
like AJ and I joke about getting a wholesale discount.
There you go.
So the golden espresso is obviously it's one of my go-tos. I love it. It's a nice, beautiful medium to medium dark roast. When you get into those medium to medium dark roasts like your Colombians, you can sometimes get a little bit of bitterness to it.
Yeah.
Unlike theirs has such a smooth silkiness. There's no bitterness. The acidity level is extremely low. So it's just very, very mellow and smooth.
That's the one that Nate's talking about.
Yes,
as far as
that's the one that they supply Fado with, both the Easton and the Dublin locations. Their city roast is their lightest roast.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what early bird was.
It might be their
City
I
roast.
have so I have
There's
actually,
a blonde. There's a blonde or.
So that might be the early bird.
Okay, but this is like the more light. This is lighter than what you're saying.
I think I've not had the early bird, so they've got a few that I haven't had.
But regardless.
But the city roast is a lighter roast, but it also has natural notes of honey sweetness to it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That would be good.
It's very intriguing.
Yeah.
So I think it paired with this cigar, first thing in the morning would be a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Well, and the second cigar that we have provided by Altadis is the Montecristo White,
Right.
which is one of my other two of the top 3 cigars that I love having in the morning with a cup of coffee.
It is a good one.
So
It is a good one.
yeah.
And CLE, so we've had, Nook was on earlier. I'm surprised some of these guys like Tyler. Tyler Jones, who was on recently, he's out there in Vegas for IPCPR, and Nook's out there. So I don't know if Nook's still on, but I know Tyler's been tuning in a bit. I don't know what's going on. I think they were day 3 out there, so they're at the end of the trade show. For those of you guys that are interested in cigars, you guys are on, looking at Half Wheel, looking at Facebook, looking at all these who's all out there, Cigar Dojo. Like everyone's out there, and so you can learn about a lot of what these companies are doing. So the fact that I've got Tyler and a couple other people that are out in Vegas tuning in, which is amazing. I don't know if you guys are out there or I don't know what you're doing out there. If you're at a bar, I mean, what time is it?
Well, it's about 8 o'clock, so 5 o'clock there.
Yeah, so I guess they're just wrapping up.
Or no, or is it 6?
2 hours.
I think it's only 2 hours.
2 hours. And so, I mean, with CLE, it's from CLE Cigars, Aroa, we've had some of their cigars, we've had CLE Cigars, we've had Nook on before, one time.
Yeah, once.
Was it twice? I think
No.
it was twice.
No,
it's the
it was
one
just
time you
once.
couldn't find
He's been trying to get back on again.
We want to get him back on. Christian Aroa, that's his initials. That's the C and the E. Christian Aroa. This is, I want to say, 3 years old as far as the release. 2 to 3 years. And I got to be honest, it's one of those lighter cigars. It's a Ecuadorian Connecticut shade with Nicaraguan filler and binder, and they've been dipping as a Honduran company, and they've been dipping more and more into Nicaraguan tobacco, which is fantastic to see. And it's one of those that when I first smoked this cigar years ago, it was something where it had those grassy notes that I actually am not wild on. I was surprised of the makeup of the cigar because I thought there'd be some Dominican tobacco in there or even Honduran tobacco. And from
With it being lighter?
Not even the fact that it's lighter, but some of the flavors I was getting like a grassiness from it. And I don't know if that's just I haven't smoked it in a while. I don't know if it was when I smoked it, it was morning without coffee, it was by itself, it was whatever it was. But with this Masterson's, man, I'm getting a lot of different flavors that I don't remember from this cigar. I don't know about you guys.
Good. I'm glad I suggested the pairing then.
Yeah.
Did you get? Now you said you remembered grassy notes in it.
Yeah.
You thought there would be some sort of Dominican in it. Do you typically get those grassy notes from Dominican cigars?
I typically do. I'm thinking about some, and not to be insulted. It's not insulting, but like run of the mill, like Fuentes. Not necessarily.
Like the Fuente
Chateau, yeah, some of those Rothschilds, things like that.
The LFD Suave, which we don't carry at the shop.
Right. The milder, less Ligero, milder Dominican. They're throwing the Olor in there.
Or Macanudo Gold Label.
Yeah. But again, I think it's just smoking by itself. Doing this or with a black coffee, I think it's a great cigar to complement. And with this this rye, I'm actually going to go back. You said, what episode was it, 53?
53.
So I'm going to go back and listen to what we talked about on 53 myself, and I encourage everyone to do the same, which is available on iTunes. It's available on Facebook. You can scroll all the way back to that. But as far as these two together, and I kudos to Nate for doing that and checking it out and trying to piece this stuff together, because we don't. And I said we've had some success. We don't always do that. We don't pair it on purpose. And I like it when they don't match up all that well. But at the same time, you get a lot more from the whiskey or from the cigar, or changes as we keep drinking something and switch cigars, or what have you. Like, just basically everything's changing.
Well, like I said, that's why I suggested the cigars that I did to go with this, because last time we didn't really get a whole lot because we were smoking a cigar that had so much more flavor and body to it. It overpowered the whiskey.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring something lighter so that way we could get the full effect and flavor profile of this whiskey.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that it worked out. I'm glad I guessed right.
Yeah, I think you did.
Oh, absolutely. Because I think, especially when it comes to a rye, if you pick a milder cigar, you run the risk of overpowering the cigar.
Yes.
Doing the vice versa.
Yeah, because we had in the shop about a month ago, I brought in the Bullet 12-year rye.
Which I've not had yet.
Oh, that was just amazing. Very deep, floral, tons of flavor, not overpowering on the spice. It's not one of those ryes that made you sweat.
Yeah.
It just had everything going for it.
So I just finished my first or second glass of the Masterson.
That was your first.
My first. Finished that. Took some hits off of the CLE Chele. I had more, and you guys just poured a glass of Ezra Brooks straight rye. But I got this. Before you guys get into that, I don't know if I'm getting more of a. It's not tang or anything from the cigar, but it's something more on the front notes, so like front part of my tongue with the cigar. But there's like this lingering food flavor in the back of my throat, like right in the back of my throat. Are you guys getting that at all?
I've got that. It's almost like I added a little extra.
Tang's up here on front, but I'm talking back here is from the whiskey. And there's a food flavor there, and I'm trying to place it.
I still have a little bit of, that could just be from the cigar, but kind of like a slightly over peppered steak.
See, that's not. I'm not getting that. I did have steak though a few hours ago.
Oh,
I had it for lunch
with pepper, and then I had garlic and sea salt on
I had a
there.
peanut butter sandwich.
That's good, man.
That's
good.
I had a Cliff Bar.
Delicious.
I had one more ribeye left that I got on sale, so I grilled that up.
I can't wait to.
Right in front of Liz.
I'm gonna get a cheap gas grill so I can actually grill out for the summer.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know. Well, she probably want to give away that Weber Jumbo Joe, but if you need something, you can borrow that. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. That's Liz's, but.
What happened to the grill?
I don't know.
She'll sell it.
I left the garage door open. It's gone. But I'm getting and this is going to sound weird, but I did have. So I got this new protein shake flavor from Jim Supplements, and it's got a little cocoa, it's got a little like almond, and a little bit of like a sugary vanilla. They're calling it Rocky Road.
So you get to taste almonds without actually eating almonds
Right.
and having
That's right.
allergic reaction.
That's
Okay,
right.
Cool.
And that's actually what it's reminding me of, is like something that, and I have not had that today, so it's not anything that has been like lingering on my palate, but I'm getting, I think that's kind of that, just because it is fresh in my mind, I'm getting a little bit of like that Rocky Road combination of flavors between this and that, but it's I think it's the lingering of the Mastersons in that. I don't know if you guys can
maybe that
wrap your head around that at all.
No, maybe that nuttiness is part of kind of that.
So you were saying that praline.
Praline,
Yeah. So that is part of it. Is that I'm getting some of that.
Hopefully your first one's small enough.
Well, medicine right
Oh,
here.
there you go.
There we go.
90 proof medicine right there.
92
Yeah.
Peppy
So like I said, this Ezra Brooks
That pen's only like 3 years
still
expired.
100% rye,
still works.
still at 90 proof, just like the Mastersons.
Shoot some more testosterone.
Well, that you can spit out, not the Mastersons.
Spitters are for quitters.
All right.
Wow.
That is different.
A lot fruitier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Much fruitier. I got berries, like a nice ripe strawberry off the nose.
Which is not something I think of with rye.
No.
You know?
I don't get
think
that
at all.
that warm vanilla as much.
No,
It's
not
like
at all.
like a fucking berry fruit salad.
You said it so aggressively. I've never heard fucking berry fruit salad said in that tone ever. It's more of like a question, like when you're ordering in a restaurant. Like, I'll take the fruity berry fruit salad?
Yeah, maybe.
And you're not even sure about ordering anything, and you're like...
Or the fucking berry fruit salad.
Yeah. All right.
Wherever that some bitch is.
Yeah, that looks fucking delicious.
Yeah. But,
I have 2 of those.
Make sure there's no meat in there, right?
yeah. But no, I mean, but you're right. As soon as you take a sip of the Ezra Brooks, you can tell. Oh gosh.
That's what it looks like on the camera.
But you can tell this has a lot more. I'm trying to hold it together, folks. I'm trying to reel them in.
That's why I put you in the middle there, Nate.
Reel them in. But no, it's got a lot more depth of flavor to it.
On this one.
On the Ezra Brooks, it's got so much more flavor right up front. It's a deeper flavor. You get the
This
berries.
doesn't have as much heat as the Mastersons either, which shocks me with it being 2 years.
2 years versus a 10 year.
You would think it'd have more burn,
Yeah.
more spice,
Yeah.
right?
But like I said, I've brought this into the shop, for after hours, and shoot, this is probably the third bottle that I've gone through, and I got 3, at least.
Did you
3
buy them
more.
all?
No,
Oh,
I didn't buy them all. There's still more at the store.
there's 2 left. Nate bought the rest.
Yeah.
Well,
We bought 2 today.
I have done that before.
With this one?
Not with this one. There's another rye that I bought at Last Call Store once, just because it was a rye and it was inexpensive. It was the Canadian Club 100% rye.
Yeah.
No.
I don't like Canadian Club whiskey. I tried the rye because it was $11.50 a
That's
bottle.
good rye.
It is so smooth, but has so much more flavor. And I got a bottle of it in my bag. I would put this up against the Mastersons too, and it's 80 proof, and it's so darn smooth, but yet flavorful.
Yeah.
So I drew the cigar before taking another sip.
On the Ezra?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that spice came out a little bit more, but it dissipates quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So my curiosity is as far as the aging process, because it's so difficult to gauge. There's so many factors, and you just really don't know when it comes to aging whiskey. But for only being 2 years, I'm curious of what the char level was in the barrel. If it was that deeper 4, what they call it,
Alligator.
Yeah, the gator char. I think in those 2 years, it strictly pulled nothing but that sugary sweetness from the barrel first and foremost.
There's so much more sweetness to this.
Yeah, and it's not even like a vanilla caramel syrupy sweetness. It's more that fruity sweetness. So
Fruity, floral, but
which is odd when it comes to a rye.
Yeah.
Especially
what's the floral note?
Well, no, that fruity sweetness, because a lot of those notes you won't get unless it depends on the type of yeast you use. So I'm curious what type of yeast strain they use for the rye as well.
That you only know if you work for Ezra Brooks.
Correct.
It's interesting. I like both of these. I mean, honestly, I like both of them. And as I'm getting through the first glass of the Ezra Brooks, it has built that, like you said, Dustin, that you're getting a little bit more of that heat, that spice.
I
don't know if that's as much the cigar, but I am trying to puff on the cigar, the Chele. But I think that Masterson's it's almost like it's extremely subtle as far as the complexity of it. I don't know if that justifies a $70 price tag compared to a $20 or less price tag.
Yeah.
But it is very good. I'd be interested, and this is where I think a lot of people get into a little bit of a debate, is to take these two, price aside, but as we're doing it neat, is to like say do a rye Manhattan with these.
And
see, I almost think that you would do it. Well, before you say, I would say with the Ezra Brooks, as you drink, you get a little bit more of the heat, and I don't want to say it's harsh, but it's like you get a little bit more of the heat, but not much. Where the Mastersons, that kind of kept going away and was more food flavors as opposed to a little bit more of a like I'm now. It's not like it was before when I was trying to describe that Rocky Road thing. It's more of like a little bit of a burn in the back right now with the CLE.
Okay.
So if you had the two of those, and I came out here with two rye Manhattans for each of you, and did the blind taste test. Nate was talking about doing a blind taste test with these whiskeys, but to do that, I almost think that you would think that the Masterson's rye Manhattan isn't a good pour. Like you would think that it's like, oh, this is poured light. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't taste it as much. I think it would make a better cocktail than maybe the Ezra Brooks rye, because the Ezra Brooks rye, you would taste the whiskey a bit more. You'd have a little bit more of that spice in it, where the Mastersons, you wouldn't. It would just be a very, very flavorful cocktail.
Yeah.
But it would be like, oh man, they didn't give me a full shot.
So you're saying, like, by themselves, Ezra Brooks may be a little bit better, but in a cocktail, you might go with the Mastersons.
I think they're both good. I think
absolutely.
both of them are very good. I think they're good for different reasons. You throw a price tag out there, and I think the Mastersons is going to lose every time, just because
75
you really,
20. I mean,
you really have to like the subtleties of the Mastersons to justify that.
And have a wallet to afford the $70.
Yeah. And what were you going to say, Dustin?
Well, so when I was drinking the Mastersons, I was actually just thinking of, because I've not actually had a Manhattan.
Ever?
No, I typically just go old fashions.
That's fair.
So, and I was actually thinking that when drinking the Mastersons, because you get that peachy apricot off the nose, say you're not smoking a cigar with it, and then you get that bright vanilla caramely flavor with it, not as much of a burn, you get a little bit. I think if you put that in an old fashioned, you don't need the simple syrup.
Oh.
Take that out of the equation, and typically what I do is I'll take an orange wedge and I'll squeeze just a dash of the orange juice in with it, and then take a thin slice of one, put it in with it with a cherry, and swirl it around, and then add that. What I also sometimes will do, instead of simple syrup, I'll put 2 sugar cubes with some club soda or seltzer water, and pour over it, let it dissolve into it, and use that as the quote-unquote simple syrup. But I think the Mastersons would be really good because it have that kind of creamy, vanilla-y type of flavor. You get a little bit of spice. I think you'll still taste the alcohol, that rye in it, but because that rye is not so spicy in that, I think it would really go well with it.
Okay.
I've noticed a lot more people are making old fashions with rye more than regular bourbons, because the spice tends to add a little more complexity to the
more depth.
Yeah, more depth, more complexity to the cocktail itself. As far as the Ezra goes, I think it'll do essentially the same thing, but instead of that warm vanilla, it'll be more like more fruity notes and that floral note to the cocktail.
Which would be good, yeah.
I think honestly both would be really great. Personally, it's obviously, if you put the price tag on, I'm going to go Ezra Brooks all day long at $13, $20 a bottle.
Well, I can buy 5 for the same cost as one bottle of Mastersons.
Correct, but I think for
you
flavor,
have bought 5.
Yeah, I have.
I think for pure flavor purposes, take the dollar sign out of the equation. I would go Mastersons. As far as if I'm going to make an old fashioned.
So you're on the cocktail part.
Yeah, if I'm going to make a cocktail out of it, I'm going to go Mastersons.
See, I don't drink many cocktails.
I don't drink a lot either, but like on a hot day.
When I drink cocktails, I drink a lot of them. I'll say that.
You're usually on a beach.
Well, whatever. Gentleman's dinner.
No, I'll tell you what. Price tag aside, I like the Ezra Brooks better.
You do like the Ezra Brooks, I know that.
Because it's so rich, it has so much flavor, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Like I taste so much more because it's a fuller rye.
Yeah.
It's a
I
full
would
whiskey.
agree. When it comes to drinking and neat, I'll take the Ezra Brooks. I'll even toss an ice cube in there. I think it'd be still fantastic.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, I mean, the Mastersons is so the Ezra Brooks is flirting with the reason we didn't want to do a rye on a 70+ degree day.
Okay.
Because I'm getting a little bit more burn,
Okay.
and there's not a whole lot of draft in the garage right now, and I feel like I'm getting back to that point where I'm getting a little hot. No, don't. Just shave my head and there's just like puddles on top of it. And I lean forward and now it's coming down my face. I gotta stand up straight. But I do want to say, for those of you guys on the audio, if you're on Facebook Live, if you guys see that, Nook got back on here. And he said he's watching in the CLE booth in Vegas. So they must be wrapping up out there because we're, like you said, it's
About 6 o'clock?
6, 7 o'clock, between there. So Nook, thank you very much. If you want to chime in about the Chile and your comments, that's amazing. And you said what do you say? Thanks for the Chile tonight. No, thank you guys for the Chile.
Absolutely.
Thanks to Tinder Box at Easton. I mean, this is a great cigar to go with a rye. A lot of whiskeys actually, but definitely something that we would.
Like I said, this for a mild, because we always get people coming in the shop say, "Oh, what's your favorite cigar?" My follow-up question to them is always, well, what kind of cigar are you looking for? You're looking for something mild? You're looking for something fuller? If you're looking for a mild cigar, this is one of my top 3.
Well, and I know that CLE, through their different lines, they have other milder cigars.
They do. They have the CLE Connecticut.
They have the CLE Connecticut. The CLE Corojo, I think it is they may call it medium, but I don't think it's all that up there. And at Tinder Box in Columbus here, we carry basically the Chile, we carry the Prieto, which is the brother of this or sister of this.
Prieto.
And that's the whole thing, like, and I didn't mention it earlier, but when they came out with this, and I don't want to offend anyone, but I don't really care if you're offended by this, you shouldn't be. But the Chile is slang for white-skinned or light-skinned. Prieto is slang, if I'm not mistaken, it is a slang term for dark-skinned. And that's why they call this the Chile and the Prieto, which has got a very, very dark broadleaf, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Very dark wrapper on there. So
about a medium to full on the
medium
Prieto.
full, very rich.
Yeah,
not much
love
spice in my opinion or pepper, but it's a very rich cigar, and I can't remember if we've had that on here. I think we might have with.
I don't remember.
With Nook, you guys did the
silent.
You did the
Medulla,
you did the Avangada, and then you also did
That
I believe
just
or you did the Medulla, and then you did the Avangada Maduro.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yes, which I love that Avangada Maduro.
But we carry more medium to full bodied CLE and Aroa cigars at the shop, and Silence as well, medium to full. We don't really have any mild stuff, many mild selections from them. So,
because we got the Aroa, we got the first 20 year, the 20-year Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to line up the Monty White series.
Yeah, well, I picked so I told Nate I picked the Toro. This is a 6x52 box press for the CLE. I picked that just because we've done the Monty White, which is a great cigar from Altadis, from Montecristo. Yep. We've done it so many times that I picked the Montecristo Rothschild size.
Yes.
So Nate, he came out with it as far as the selections. And I know I saw Nook. Got our whole crew watching this as we close out the interview. So he's got in the background. They probably can't hear us because they pump music. I forget what they said earlier on a post that they're pumping some like 80s or 90s song in the booth out there. That's how they do it in the CLE booth. It's just like elegant booth. That like when I was out there 3 years ago, real elegant, and then it's just like this like soundtrack going on in the background. It's fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
But so they're probably pumping it right now. So I appreciate you guys having us on out there.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
I can only imagine it's hotter, getting drier out there, but I would still take 90-degree Columbus weather over 100.
They're probably smoking inside too, where it's air conditioned.
They're in the Venetian, where is the Sands Conference Center, the Sands Ballroom, which they renamed, from the old casino. They're back in that, which is great.
Yeah. And then isn't Nook and them trying to get you guys up there at New Holland Brewery to do a possible Bourbon
Yeah.
BS episode.
And they are,
pushing it.
and they're excited to, you know, Nook and Tom Lazuka, and I don't know who else from CLE and Asylum and all those boys out there, boys and girls out there, but they are wanting to get behind the podcast financially as well. So
That's great.
Nook, we need to talk. I've got some stuff together and finalizing some stuff, so you might see some more signage from them, and that's where we're trying to, any of the which we have it behind us. I don't know, we got two, and we got the Asylum sign right up here that he made custom for us actually. But that's our thing, is getting, if we go off site, we're going to have to get a little bit more equipment, and that's where the sponsorship dollars come in. So hopefully we can work some of that out. But again, thank you guys for doing that.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, this CLE, the Chele is definitely got a lot more complementary flavors for me, for my palate, drinking it with these ryes.
Yeah.
And now probably a Saturday I'm gonna have this cigar. Now that we got a decent stock in. And I will say this, Nook, and you can pump this out there to anyone that you know is in the Columbus market. It's going to be 15% off between now and next Tuesday. So we're going to have over a week of a 15% off special on the Chiles.
Yeah, we just got a bunch of these in.
Huh?
So an extra couple days.
Extra couple days. We're still honoring, last week was the Fuente Magar, so you can still pick that up tomorrow before close. At 15% off, so we'll have our first overlap of a special. But
pick up the Magar and the CLE Chele.
Yeah, you come in tomorrow. I'm in there, open to close. Give me a call at the shop, Tinder Box at Easton, and we can do a 15% off mix and match of the Chele and the Magar. We can ship it to you if you want to as well. So we're a little old school. We're not online, but we can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just me, but like the further down I get into the cigar, you get a little bit more pepper out of it.
It builds.
Yeah, it's getting a lot more.
Definitely starts out super light, super smooth, but
I'm losing that front end stuff that I had with the Mastersons. With the Ezra Brooks rye, I don't have that front
sweetness.
Yeah, I don't have that. A little bit salt or whatever. Nook says, "Come out and grab a box."
Yes.
So
that's actually better.
Don't do it because we're saying it's at Nook.
It's better than the box discount too.
That is better than the box discount. That's basically, you're getting locker member discount. Locker members, you know, they're there all year round, several times a week. They pay to have a locker there. They get a discount on cigars. So definitely come on and take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. First 5 to get a box will get a special CLE gift from Nook. That's awesome.
So,
that's awesome.
That being said, definitely get in tomorrow so that I can be there. I'll be there all week, but yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Nook, for tuning in.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as we get into this, you guys have anything else to say about the cigars or whiskey?
I think honestly, the pairing themselves, I think was really great. So Nate, you did a fantastic job with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dustin.
I think it goes really well with the Mastersons. It goes very well with the Ezra as well, which I think picking a cigar that's going to pair well with a rye when it's 90 degrees outside
is tough.
It's difficult, and I think you have to go with a milder cigar depending obviously on the rye itself. I think we have two really great, beautiful ryes.
Yeah.
Two completely different price points, but flavor profiles are both great, complex. They both pack a good amount of sweetness for it being a 100% rye. Which complements the cigar very well. I think the further you get into the cigar, it changes. You get a little bit more pepper, turns a little bit more medium body, in my mind.
I think it's been all over the board. With two pours.
I think it has. But for being all over the board, I've not had any bit of it where the two did not go together, and I'm like, I need to take a break from one or the other.
Yeah, which normally, I mean, said that in the past. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we avoid ryes when it's 80, 90 degrees. Is, you know,
it's too much.
It's too much. It's too overpowering. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to pick this cigar in particular to go with these whiskeys.
Get your bottle of Mastersons and celebrate 4th of July with a Canadian red rye.
Get out there and drink it. No, get out there and drink it today.
Yeah.
You know how I knew that it was Canada Day?
I heard it on the radio.
No, I actually.
Did Ryan Reynolds have a social media post or something?
No, I'm gonna mess up her name. It's like Camellia something, but it's Bonnie McMurray from Letterkenny.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Bonnie McMurray. Like, check out Letterkenny. But that's how I knew it was Canada Day.
She knows what it's all about.
We're saving Facebook. We're saving the audio right now before we delve into the topic. So don't forget, like, share, reshare it since now we're getting into the topic. And then don't forget, if you haven't already, leave Bourbon BS Podcast a review, preferably a 5-star review.
Well, we're going to get into that.
Yeah, because that actually ties into exactly what we're going to talk about.
And Nook, if you're still out there, thank you so much. That's amazing.
Yes.
And everyone else out there. Ray, sorry to confuse you. I should have sent you a message. But
and we also get quite a few people that come into the shop like, hey, yeah, I'm looking for a cigar that's going to pair well with a bourbon.
Yeah.
And I always ask, well, what are you drinking? And then I also tell them, well, by the way, our store manager, Steve, and one of the other guys that works there, Jake, do a bourbon and cigar podcast every week. So check it out, because we do get a lot of people that enjoy a good cigar with a whiskey.
That's right.
So, and like you alluded to earlier, Steve, we don't always plan the pairings. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I'm glad I made a pick that worked out well.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Before we get back on, I'm going to do some sharing. I encourage you guys to do the same. Good. Go there.
I haven't just deleted everything. While we're sharing it, we highly recommend everyone else, please share the video so we can get this thing boosting. That's how we've gotten this to grow to what it is today.
That's right.
And it's the only way we're going to really keep it going.
We had a great turnout last week, too.
We did. You guys ready?
Yep.
And so we took a break here on the audio. I'm not going to make it as smooth as I normally do, because I do want to say we had a lot of good content real quick on the video. So guys, check out the video on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. But I mean, we're talking about the fact that, we want to get some reviews, and that actually feeds into this topic. And Nate said, and I appreciate it when he was saying it, he's like, preferably a positive or a 5-star review. Obviously, that's what we want. We want that. And if you don't like it, you can put it out there in social media. You can give us some hopefully constructive criticism, but you can also get a hold of us. You can private message us. Any of the Instagram, the Facebook pages, again, bourbonbspodcast@gmail.com. If you guys have any feedback on how we can improve and kind of reach out to you, that would be great to hear, because that leads into what we were going to talk about tonight. I'm going to read a couple things. But the topic tonight, as we mentioned, and you might see it on the post, and you'll see it on the audio subject for this week is, and
you gotta use the inflection.
I don't know if I should put like the star asterisk or whatever, for the word fuck or not, but like, who are you fooling? I don't know if that's really necessary. I don't know. I see that all the time. Whatever. But it's the subject tonight is, what the fuck is your problem? And the reason we say that is not like calling people out necessarily, but it's trying to figure it out. And I'll tell you, I got to bring it up here on my iPad. Hopefully it'll pull up here. So I was. Did I not copy that one? Of course I did. I'll bring this up here and we'll talk about it. But it was a review done by someone that I know, and actually from my previous my career, my previous job, right? And it's someone that works there. It's actually someone that's high up. I'm not going to give it all away. And if they're listening tonight or they listen at some point, they'll know it was them. And I'm not calling them out. I mean, everyone's got their days, right?
Absolutely.
And so this is something that kind of hit close to home. This is a Saturday, and I talked to Nate because he was there at the shop. Mm-hmm. And I thought about responding back on social media, but I didn't want to dive into that and start that whole dialogue in front of everyone. But so this is the post. Why is it every retail associate at Easton Town Center is so interested in what my plans are for the day and discussing the weather? Is it not okay to just browse a store and not be involved in a conversation? I see why Amazon is winning the retail war. Hashtag leave me alone.
Yeah. We went off on that for a while at the shop too.
We talked about it.
We talked about it quite a bit.
We talked about it.
And then I had suggested, like, hey, why don't we talk about that in a couple weeks?
Well, and that, I mean, it was something that I want to talk about on this because I think this is a great venue for that. This is a great sounding board for everyone to kind of see that stuff because we've all been there before. My gut reaction right away for seeing something like that, first of all, is I work at Easton Town Center. I work in retail. And the big thing with our shop being like more of a specialty store, there is customer interaction. That's what we do. That's our job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we get some people that are borderline, if not way over the border rude, when you literally are walking up to them and you say, hey, how you doing today? And as soon as like you're not even done asking how you doing today, they cut you off and like, I'm just looking. So the dialogue there is, hey, how you doing? I'm just looking. Without even looking, hold up a hand to like basically shut you up, and you're just like, the fuck, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why do you talk to people like that? You know what I mean? Like what the fuck is your problem? You know, so that was the whole thing. Branching off of this Facebook post, and I've got some other stuff here, and you can bring in reviews, you can bring in, critique like that, but reading something like that, my initial reaction is there's two parts of it really, and I'll let you guys chime in as well on how that hits you. But one is go the fuck home. You're fine.
If you're not fit to interact with the world that day, then you just need to stay the fuck home.
And I will say this on behalf of him, because he's in charge of the operations department and then some at a service oriented business. So if you got that attitude and you want your people going into people's homes to act like that and not make small talk, not be polite, not just be friendly, that's going to be short lived. That's going to be a problem in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But if you go into a retail store, you go into these places, you go into a restaurant, you go anywhere in public, right? But in the retail environment, for example, it's if you're going into a cigar shop, a whiskey shop, you're going in a clothing store, and someone comes up to you or says it from behind the counter, like, "Hey, how you doing today?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm fine." They're like, "Oh, is there something I can help you find?" "No, I'm just looking." And if they start that small talk and you say to them, I think there is a way to, again, having an actual dialogue with someone else, like in the world, because you walked into their store and they're doing their job. They're not just there, because the opposite side is they don't even fucking acknowledge you, and then you're going to think that's rude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not Amazon. So I look at it as you can say something tactfully and say, hey, you know what, no offense, I'm having a rough day, or I'm just looking around, like I'll let you know if I need help. You can do that. And now if they start badgering you, trying to be over friendly, that is fucking annoying. But if they back off at that point, that's fine. But if you are passive and you're just like, oh my God, this person's asking me about the weather, Jesus. I was just in 3 stores and they asked me about the weather too. That's what we're doing. Like well, that's what it is. Like you chose to leave your house and join the other
7.5 billion
people in the world, and you went to a public place. That's on you. You can go the fuck home or leave the store and go behind your computer again and deal with Amazon. And then the way that Amazon does it is that they have all the suggested things, you know what I mean? The related products, people that viewed this, bought this, the emails that will bombard your email box daily, if not more.
Or you look at something on Amazon and then 5 minutes later when you're scrolling through Facebook, you've got ads for it on Facebook.
It's on there. What do you think?
Well, I've got a variety of different avenues. I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate with that because having, I work in retail, retail management. You guys know the variety of stores that I've worked at. They're not necessarily the easiest of stores.
But it's all grocery stores.
It's all grocery stores,
okay.
But the customer base has been fairly the same. My previous store is a lot more diverse.
Sure.
But we have our fair share of what we call difficult customers. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I always tell my associates is you kill them with kindness. On the same side, I always try to put myself into the other person's shoes because you don't know the kind of day that person could have been having. They could have gone, they could go off the deep end on you, but, it could have been some very well, more times than not, it's not anything that you personally did or anything that store did to you, but you have to really put yourself in their shoes, because you just don't know. On the same side, kind of go back, I tell my associates, you kill them with kindness, because how many times have you seen or you've been so pissed off about something that you're just pissed off about, at a person, and they've been nothing but completely nice to you? How can you be mad at someone at that point? Like, it's at one point, you just cannot be mad at someone who's been nothing but nice to you. I think in human nature, like, there's probably going to be those few instances where people just keep going because it's just pissing them off even more. But more times than not, I think if you truly are just over the top, nice, kind, they're just kind of like, well, what the fuck is my problem?
Yeah, so that attitude's kind of infectious.
A little bit, yeah.
Can be.
It can be.
Clearly, based on that Facebook post, it was not infectious. It was offensive, and it made them even further.
And so
climb back into their.
So, and that's where my
turtle shell.
My semi-thought process is, well, what else did this person have going on in the day that pushed them over the edge, or are they always like this? If they're always like this, being in the field that they're in, that's very concerning to me.
Absolutely.
Very concerning to me. But I'm not saying that they are like this all the time, because I don't know, and I don't know that person. So that's why I always take a somewhat neutral approach and just be as nice and kind and sincere as possible. And I get a lot of people who come to me and say, how in the fuck can you be so patient with that person? I said, well, sometimes you just got to put the mask on and you deal with it, and then when they leave, you turn and go, what the fuck was that problem?
You don't get offended by it.
No, absolutely not.
And sometimes, when you have that person, let's say they have had a bad day, and they come into our retail establishment, whether it's a grocery store or whether it's a cigar shop, the associate that first interacts with that person, they don't know that person's had a bad day.
You don't.
So, if that associate comes up and has that initial interaction and is like,
the first thought process is that person's an asshole.
Well, but it kind of goes to what Steve said. It's like, hey, I just want to look around. If you have to, say you've had a bad day. Because I think if you sit there and say, you know what, I've had a rough day, this is my kind of therapy.
Retail therapy.
Yeah, just if I need you, I'll come find you. I'll look for you, but I just need to.
How easy do you think it is for people to actually openly say that, though?
Oh, that's tough, because no one wants to admit they're having a bad day.
Correct.
No one wants to admit something's wrong.
No one wants to admit to it. No one ever wants to actually talk about it.
Yeah,
they don't.
Well, I think you're hitting a point on the head about just talking.
Yeah.
Communicating, right?
Yeah.
So, it's funny on the other side of it, being in the retail side of it, is that you ask those questions because, I'm not saying that everyone I ask or anyone that, walks in, like, so this person that walked in the retail, did they really care about your day? Probably not. Probably not. There's some manners there. There's being polite. It's an interaction. It's a forced interaction because they work there and you walked into that store.
Yeah.
So now they're doing their job, and you're offended by that, or you're upset about it. But it's the communication side of it. Is that I've had the other side of it where you ask someone like, "Hey, how you doing today?" And you're like, "Not so good." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." Yeah, my dog died. It sounds like a country song. My dog died. Lost my job.
Lost my girl, lost my
got
house.
evicted today, and it's like you start. Some of that shit. You're just like, I'm thinking like, why are you here spending money? Like, this is not a good place to be. But this type of comment just brings it out to me. Is that it does allude to a bigger issue, in my opinion. It's like Amazon is winning for a reason. Is that really what we want? I love Amazon. I love shopping online. Just because of my schedule. Like, I'm in retail and I don't like going to look at, I don't like shopping. I don't like shopping for clothes. I don't like doing any of that stuff. But like, even when I go into, say, the state liquor department, like, I know the people there because I have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
They know I work at a cigar shop at Easton, a lot of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also know that, what like, the one lady at the Kroger I go to, she's talked to me about her son working at Cooper's Hawk. It's like, I know this is what happens. Like, I'm not necessarily going to invite these people over to a barbecue next weekend, you know, because that's the level, that's the circles out. But at the same time,
invitation to your next party.
At the same time, it's something that I feel like as you go out there, conversation, you know, as a whole is fine. It's not something you should be offended with. I don't like the direction we're going because you don't want to interact with people and you go out in public and you put yourself in that situation and then you take it upon yourself to go on Facebook, and granted it was not towards that retail establishment. They didn't leave a poor review that I know of, but they just put it out there in the world. Maybe they thought it was funny, but it was one of those things that was like, you're that offended that you put extra effort into the fact that you are that offended. Just like hashtag leave me alone. Like,
sounds like he's got more issues than
like I said, like you just go home. You shouldn't be out today.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. I think another piece of it is you get people who are like that who will take the time to go home and actually post a status or a tweet or whatever it may be about it.
Yeah.
Like if you really have that much frustration to go home and make it apparent to the entire fucking world, you need to reevaluate yourself. And I think people that are like that, who carry that with them throughout the day, are the kind of people that really make that spread to where in today's society, kindness doesn't even fucking exist.
Well, it's interesting, you know, Ray, did you see that comment? So Ray's tuning in here on the topic of conversation in general, which is where we're getting to a little bit. Have you guys seen, and I have not seen this, the video doing the rounds on Facebook about the 3 million people in the UK that are suffering from loneliness? Very interesting. And I think there's a tie in there. Is that the Amazon, the social media, all that stuff is you rather do this to a iPad, an iPhone, whatever, Android. You sit behind your computer, and it's funny. A lot of people will be on any of these devices, their computer, even their work computer, shopping on Amazon because they have that freedom, and they are using that as a distraction of buying products while they're at work because it's that easy. But you'd rather do that than go to a store, and if you are, that's the thing. It's like it's different because it's like for me, it's like I don't want to go necessarily. I don't like going to Lowe's or Home Depot because I don't know a ton about a lot of stuff when it comes to home improvement. But I also know that if I want to go somewhere and I have a question, I also don't like the fact that I have to walk up and down aisles and try to find someone to fucking answer a question.
Yeah, because the store's as wide as a football field.
Yeah, and there's one associate for every 10 aisles.
Good luck.
So you have to go to the paint aisle just to ask them, like, hey, I got a question about toilets.
Yeah.
Yeah. What aisle is it in? Oh, it's not in the front aisles. It's actually in the back. It's on the side in the aisle 33, but it's on the right hand side of the store, and it's all the way in the back and all that stuff. It's like great because I would have spent 25 minutes walking up and down, looking at your signs, don't see it. I'm like, I know they have toilets here.
But I have no idea where. 10 minutes to walk from one corner of the store to the other.
Yeah. So anyone who's ever been to Jungle Gyms down in Fairfield, Ohio, the original location down there, when you walk in, that store is so massive. It's basically a giant international grocery store that is it's aisled by country or continent. So if you,
and it's somewhat by like commodity.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but like. If you want Indian food, there's a whole aisle of Indian food. If you want food from Ireland, there's a separate room just
for... If you want a fucking hog's head, you can get that.
Yeah, but so when you walk in, they actually offer you a map. They offer you a map that tells you where these different locations are if you're looking for something specific. Dude. And they actually have a line on there that tells you like how you would go through the best way if you wanted to see everything.
So they've thought it through.
Yeah.
Funny story. The first time I was ever in Jungle Gyms in Fairfield, I was in there for 3.5 hours.
Jesus.
I did not make it past the cigars, beer, wine, and liquor.
Yep. Yep.
You might have your own problem.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, when they have a bar that you can get something on tap or a glass of wine to do your shopping, you kind of hang out, then you find a walk-in humidor and you find your time in there and
yeah.
But
I wanted to I want to touch on something that you had brought up, Dustin. Do you think that when people, they take the actual time and effort to go through and make a social media post about this, do you think that they just get off on that kind of negativity or that kind of power play?
I think there are a lot of people that do, just because I think in today's world, social media is an outlet more times than not. There's so many people that don't like to actually talk about their problems or their issues. I'm just as guilty. I will say that. I'm just as guilty that I don't like to talk about my problems or anything like that, or things that are going on, just because I don't like putting that on other people. But I do believe there are people that are out there who, to Bobby Crow's point, pushing buttons can be fun. But I think there are a lot of people out there who actually take great joy in posting shit like that because it's their outlet, and they're like, you know what, fuck this, and I'm gonna let everybody know about it. When
hey, look at me.
In reality, they're the ones who look like the fucking assholes.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, going back to that, and we can move on from this a little bit, but it really does bother me that is the direction, not only the convenience of having things at your fingertips all the time, and having, Facebook or Instagram or anything, Yelp.
Well, I'm wondering if he actually went home and posted, or if he actually posted it right then and there.
It doesn't, and there's maybe part of that, but to be that annoyed with it's not even just rant, like, so Ray finished what he had brought up, and the guy does a social experiment where he sits in public places and starts conversations with complete strangers. That's even more extreme. This is literally you walk in a store and you're upset, or you're turned off by the fact that person working there
does their fucking job.
Does their job, and it's just being fucking friendly.
Well,
like, good God, man, it's like the problem, the extreme of that is, and I look at, like, so for example, there are these online places where you do everything, but as soon as there is an issue with your order or something like that, you can't get someone on the phone. You can't talk to someone. So now you're in a chat, or if they don't have a chat, you're sending emails to the customer service, and it takes 2 days to get it back, and now you're frustrated about that shit.
Yeah.
So you're just not. You want it to go the way you want it to go, and I think that's part of it. Is like, again, going back to what the fuck is your problem? Is it's not your way. Make your own clothes, make your own food, do your own shit. Don't be bothered by the fact that you are looking for someone else's services, and then you're upset that they're not doing it your way.
So I just want to say a little side plug into that. You say there's so many companies out there that when you have an issue, you can't get a hold of someone who's an actual person to talk to anything.
Or there's like a 30-minute lag time, and you're all our operators are currently assisting other customers. Your wait time is 8 to 15 minutes, or 20 to 28 minutes, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah. So one company I want to just kind of poke out is Bespoke Post. I don't know if either of you guys have heard of it.
I've heard of it.
So it's a subscription service. They curate specific boxes for you once a month.
Monthly subscription service, yeah.
They don't charge you for the month if you decide to skip that box. If you decide to take it, you can actually change the boxes out with other ones that they have available.
Right.
They've got some pretty cool ones. So they've got ones where you can get like a set of whiskey glasses and whiskey stones and like a mixer or something. It comes to like, each month is like $45.99 or something like that. Before shipping, it's like $52 and some change after. Sure. So, and I've gotten a couple things from them. One thing I got was a hammock and this nice like outdoors blanket. Really nice. This last one I got was a set of bowls. So it's kind of like the French version of bocce. Boules. B-O-U-L-E-S.
Okay.
Is how it's spelled, but bowls. It's like bocce.
Okay.
But the balls are a little bit smaller, and it came with a ceramic concrete wine chiller. So you can freeze it, put the bottle of wine in it. For $45, I was like, that's actually not a bad deal. Kathy loves wine. I always loved playing bocce. This would be great. We can have it for the new house.
Yeah.
Well, it comes in, and the wine chiller is busted.
Okay.
In shipping. So they have something where you can either email them, or they give you a number that you can shoot them a text.
Shoot, yeah.
So I shot them a text. I'm like, this is going to be a shot in the fucking dark.
Right.
and it was a weekend when I shot it, so you know you get the automated. You know, one of our people will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm like, great, you know, I'm fucking stuck with this.
It's a weekend. You almost expect that.
So at like 8 o'clock Monday morning, I get a text back saying, hey, you know, I'm really sorry about what happened. We'll send you a brand new one to your shipping address. And we were in the process of moving. I said, well, can I give you the new one? The new address you can ship to. And they're like, actually, yeah, I'll try to catch it in shipping. And sure enough, they shipped it to the new house.
Nice.
Comes in, wrapped very nicely, had bubble wrap around it, plastic. I open it up, it's wrapped in paper. Still kept the solid shape. I start to unwrap the paper and it just falls apart.
Oh.
I saw that coming to space.
I was pissed. So I shot him another text. I'm like, hey, look, and I took a picture each time and I sent it to him. So that was actually kind of the luxury of doing that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was a weekend, it was a Saturday, but they responded back and say, you know, I'm so sorry, we're going to credit your PayPal $20, which was, you know, half a box.
Yeah.
And they credited me back, so I'm like, well, shit, like, you know, yeah, you don't have that actual person-to-person conversation, but there is someone on the other end of that taking care of you.
Yeah.
And they didn't even wait around, they didn't hesitate, they said, you know what, look, I'm sorry that happened. You know, I told him, I don't know if it's just like the poor construction of the actual chiller or what.
Or you've got a UPS guy like ours that sits there and just fucking throws boxes.
Yeah, and you're going to have that. So
you will.
I thought that was actually really cool because you don't see that a lot with companies today.
The back end part of it.
Well,
It's still the small talk. I mean, because I've had these conversations with people when I'm handling situations like that, and I feel as though that, and maybe that's just because, I've been in management for a long time, even before the Tinder Box, but I also did claims for a moving company for 2.5 years. Every person I talked to had a problem.
Yeah.
External customers, internal customers, meaning employees, like every day was dealing with negative. And it is interesting how when you're trying to deal with these people and the companies, if you go in angry, you go in irritated, you go in agitated, you do that, and you start taking it out on the person that's representing the company, all it takes is this little bit of the weather talk, the plans for the weekend. It's the, how's your day going?
To open that
I know I've
I've
caught a lot of people off guard dealing with the back end stuff, and you actually get someone on the phone, and in the middle of it all, you're just like, how's your day going? You having a good day? And then all of a sudden they become a person.
Yeah.
They become a person where they're like, it has been busy, but I'm almost done for the day. Well, that's good. Yeah. And you just, it's bringing that person to person, as opposed to, I'm the customer, you're the employee, and I'm just pissed and I just want to get this done, or I just want to get in, get out, and all that stuff. It's like, it doesn't take much effort, and I feel like everyone wins if you actually make it so that they are people too, and you show that you can be a nice person. You're not mad at them. They didn't fucking pack the box.
Yeah, right.
Dustin, they didn't put this together. They're not even making the product. They're doing their job. Yeah. And doing the job is the important part at that time, much like this retail environment, but it's relating to that person. And it's not necessarily a strategy thing. You can bring in personality types we've talked about on the show before, of trying to mirror the person you're talking to. That'll help out, but I feel as though you should never, unless you are having a very, very negative thing or bad thing in your life that's you're dealing with or you're not feeling well, but I just still think you should never be offended, and you should always be on that level where you need to realize that you are talking to another person.
Yeah. Well,
that's it.
Different stores have different ways that they handle that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I mean, at the Tinder Box, someone comes in, we greet them, like, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Anything I can help you find? And if they sit there and say, you know what, I'm browsing, cool, we back off. We let them browse. Me personally, if I see that person, because we've got over 500 different cigars at the Tin Box.
Right.
Not all the cigars are even on display.
Right.
So if there's something that they're looking for, like, ask me, because we may have it if you don't see it. And if I see someone walk the entire length of the humidor wall and then start walking back, that's when I then go and I re-engage that person, because
that's me every time.
Because obviously they haven't seen something that catches their eye, or maybe they just overlooked and haven't seen what they're looking for.
Yeah.
You know, and if you help them find that, you know, they're like, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. You know, one time I had Dan Patrick, the sports commentator, has his own radio show, used to be on ESPN for a while. He came in. And
Super nice guy.
Super nice guy. And when he was walking up towards the shop, I was like, that guy looks like Dan Patrick. But I didn't want to actually say that.
Yeah. Because
maybe he's heard that his entire life and he doesn't want to hear it anymore.
You look like someone I know.
And I might be the guy that he finally just snaps at. But he walked the entire humidor and back, and then I went back up to him and was like, hey, you know, is there anything in particular you're looking for?
Yeah.
And because of his radio personality, he just goes, yeah, I'm looking for the free shit. He was making a joke.
Yeah.
And I laughed, and I was like, holy shit, you are Dan Patrick.
Yeah, you heard him speak.
I heard his voice, and I was like, holy cow. You know?
Yeah.
So we have a tendency, you know, if that person asks us, because if that person comes in and they're like, yes, this is what I'm looking for. Great, it's right over here. I'll grab it for you. Meet you at the register. Boom, that person's in and out. No pain, no hassle. Boom, you just simplified and made that entire process easier for them. Some people want to look around. And you give them that ability, but then you also provide help.
Well, yeah, and I look at the walk-in humidor mentality. It's like you go into a clothing store, and there are people that just want to look. They literally have no intention of buying. They just are scoping it out. You know what I mean? They're just hitting every clothing store because they have nothing really in. Like they just came up to Easton Town Center, like that individual we're talking about, or the social media post. But there's a lot of times that when they go in, you talk about that it's not easy for everyone to have any interaction, let alone tell them that they're having a bad day or whatever. Yeah. But if you're coming in, you're looking for sweaters, and you walk into it. I mean, like take it back to that extreme of like the Home Depot or the Lowe's, right?
Where the fuck are the sweaters?
Yeah, it's like, you know, like, is there anything you're looking for?
No, they're not at Lowe's.
Menards has them.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, it's something that, again, you go into that interaction, it's a forced interaction on both sides of it, right? There's intention there. So if you have something, it actually is beneficial to both parties if you say something like, you know, I'm here to look at some men's sweaters. Great, they're right over here. What kind were you looking for? And just looking at the sweaters. I'm like, okay,
cool.
But it's like you can actually save everyone's time of having a conversation. You know, you're looking for V-neck sweaters that are blue or navy, right? And it's like, great, let me show you. I've got some over here, and I've also got some over here, and I've got some, because different retail stores have different strategies. They don't just put all the sweaters here. They've got them.
It's either by brand or by size or by style.
Right,
or by
and they purposely want you to go.
They're in 20 different places.
They want you to go, so
then it pisses you off again.
Well, yeah, you want to see all that stuff because the strategy there is like you're looking for a sweater. I've got some up here, and I've got some back here, and I've got some over here. And while you're doing that, you see belts, you see pants, you see this, you see socks, you see all this shit matches, and you're like, you know what, I actually like those pants too.
Yeah.
Like, again, they're in it to sell you stuff, and you're in it to buy stuff. This is a agreed upon relationship there.
When my stepdad used to work at Brooks Brothers, which is a higher end men's clothing and business suits, business attire, and stuff like that. Their store policy was they literally followed customers around the entire store.
Yeah. And if you ever read the book, or if you've been to Nordstrom, that is a classic department store. It's I think it's the last one out there. That if you go in there and you go to the men's shoe department, they're going to ask what you're looking for, let you look or whatever. But as soon as you do pick, do you have these in this size? And you're like, great, yeah. And then they'll go back and they'll actually be like, hey, while I was back there, actually, you were looking at, cap toe shoes. So I noticed you looked at the Allen Edmonds. I also have these other 2 or 3 that if you didn't see them, I wanted to show you these as well, so you have some options.
Especially if it's
and I'm not annoyed by that because
it's not something they have on display.
Correct.
Because maybe they don't always have all the.
Correct. And it's not even an upsell thing all the time. They might be saying, you're looking at a $200
But maybe they're just
pair
giving you extra options because if you are looking for a hot second, I like that because for me, I like shopping, but I'm difficult to shop for, and then I get really picky. And I'll tell Kathy I'm not picky, but she'll look me dead in the face and say, "Fuck you, yes you are." And yeah, I actually am picky. But I like having a few different options to pick from, but yeah, I also hate it because then I get extremely indecisive.
Well, and when you're talking about shoes, I mean, we've probably all had that experience, and it sucks. Where you try on you say, yeah, can I try this shoe in a size 13? And they go back and they bring you just that shoe in a size 13. You're like, you know what? This really doesn't feel well. You know, can I try this other shoe in a size 13? And now you get to sit there on that little bench while that person puts the other shoe back and then finds the other shoe to bring back out to you. And you're like, yeah, I like this one better, but, maybe because it's a tennis shoe and instead of a boot, maybe I need to step down and do a 12 or something. And here's the box. I'm going to go sit here again. Okay, I'm going to wait for you to go back and forth over.
And that's the thing about like Nordstrom. I mean, to dial it further down with that one is that you go in there, and I haven't been in there in a few years, but when I was shopping for dress shoes for my previous job, I would go in there and they would literally be like, do you know your size? But they would offer every time to actually sit down and use that old school foot measuring tool with right?
Which all kids usually just play
with. They sit down. They're floating around Kohl's, they're floating around DSWs, but you have to know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
But that's the design. That's the Amazon mentality. You'd rather order, like I think I'm a 10.5, 11, whatever. So instead of doing that, if you want to, you can just buy 3 pairs of the same shoe in different sizes and then ship the other 2 back.
That's just a pain in the ass.
Well, but to some people, that's better than talking to people. Whereas you go into like a Nordstrom, and you're going to have that where they're going to like literally pull out a shoehorn and you're going to put your foot out and they're going to get that shoe on for you. 2 reasons, much like we do in the cigar shop. There's 2 reasons. They're going to make sure that they're helping you out, and also you're not fucking up the shoe that you may not buy by fucking cramming your heel down on the back spine of that shoe. So there's 2 sides of it, but that personal attention is actually something that I prefer. I like that. I like the fact that people take the time to actually interact with you and show you the fucking time of day.
Yeah.
I like that.
And you can't, when you're buying something online, you can't try it out. You can't test a pair of shoe when you're buying it online. You can't test a pair of pants. The previous shop that I used to work at, we had brought in a bunch of new pipes because one of the part-time guys working there was a big pipe guy, more than the owner was, and he wanted the owner to bring in more pipes. So the owner brings in more pipes, and he marks them at MSRP. And that day, that part-time guy was working, and the owner just happened to come in to grab some cigarettes before he went to darts. And he goes, hey, by the way, these pipes, you got them priced all wrong. Like, you can buy these online for, $20, $30 cheaper.
Sure.
And my whole thing is, but when a person holds a pipe in their hand, like it feels a different way versus online.
Yeah.
I had that customer come in Saturday, saw those 2 pipes side by side, and was having a hard time figuring out. And he's like, you know what? That one's the one that caught my eye. That one felt better in my hand. There was a pipe I had that if you held it in your right hand, felt absolutely horrible to hold. If you held it in your left hand, it fit absolutely perfectly.
Left-handed pipe.
But you would never know that if you were buying it online. But to hold it in your hand was completely different. And the owner was like, you know what? I'm in a hurry. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And the associate followed him out in the parking lot. And the 2 of them talked about it again in the parking lot. The owner called the manager, who wasn't even working. He's like, hey, tomorrow we need to have a talk about that guy. And the manager goes, no, I'm just going to go to the store and fire him.
Wow.
Because there's a difference between that experience of going to a shop and holding it and seeing it versus seeing it on, because
you're introducing a new aspect of it, in my opinion. Again, this is the social interaction. Is again going back to the topic at hand. What the fuck is your problem?
I think so. Going along with the lines of ordering online, like, yeah, I know for me, I like trying shoes on in the store, so I know what I'm saying. But how many people will order shoes online because they're like, it's convenient for me. I don't like going to the store, so I just order them online. But yet they will still order shoes online and bitch and moan on a review about it. Like, you made that choice.
Yeah,
you made that choice.
The company didn't mess up. The associate didn't mess up.
Correct. And at the same time, like, how many times do you get people who actually will comment about something or make a review or report a review about something? It's funny because Catherine and I will look up like restaurants and like new places to check out, and we'll read some of the reviews. all right, what are the bad reviews? We just want to see what they put. Just because sometimes it's comical, we're like, yeah, that person was probably just having a bad day, or no, that person just wanted a bitch to bitch, or you can just kind of tell based on what their conversation is or what they put. Like it's short and sweet, and like I didn't like the way that the food came out. Well, you ordered the fucking plate. Yeah. You knew what you were getting into.
And if they mess it up, if it's cold, it's not like cooked the right way. Like that's something,
a little
right?
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
Let me introduce that. You're bringing your restaurants. Got 2 reviews. One's an actual review, and then one's an actual post on their own page.
Yep.
I would love it. It's the same person and they contradict themselves.
No, they actually just go into more.
This is good. This is good.
So this is about a restaurant, right? So. Missing Ed DeBevick's, and this is I think a Chicago-based restaurant where they actually were kind of like
it's
purposely rude.
Yeah,
right?
they insult you and
sarcastically rude.
Yeah.
All right, Missing Ed DeBevick's. This place has you covered without the charm. Went for a late lunch on Father's Day. Quote, ready? End quote. That's how our waitress started things off. No welcome, no introduction, no ... anything. I ordered the fried goat cheese. That's all? Was the snotty reply. My son works at a restaurant. He felt the owner should shadow our waitress for the day. She was that bad. Almost $80 for okay food and lunch. Mentions another restaurant. Went out of business. I think this place may be next. I gave the other restaurant 3 tries. This place won't be getting a second chance. It's that bad. Happy Father's Day. That's the public one that went to the page. Here is the more involved one, and bear with me. I'm gonna maybe skip over some of this because it's fucking long.
It's story time with Steve Crane.
Hey friends.
Read the label.
Missing Ed DeBevick's? This is the place for you. Without the charm and sarcasm, just straight up rude, unfriendly, and OMG, why did you come to our restaurant and how dare you want to eat here? Kind of hospitality.
This is the same person?
Same person, but it's on their own page.
Because I couldn't believe 2 people would start out the same review asking if you miss Ed DeBevick's.
You will be greeted with a friendly, ready, internal dialogue. This is her internal dialogue. Oh, thanks for asking. No, we've never been here before, and you are? Okay, we'll just wait for the check to see your name. Yes, we're celebrating Father's Day. Oh, sorry, you don't give a shit. We'll just go ahead and order so we can get out of here. We order. That's all? This is basically more in depth of what the actual review was. Yes, that's all we want. We have no idea what's awesome here because clearly we smell and you just want to get this over with. And BTW, 3 of the 4 of us showered 30 minutes before we arrived. And the one that didn't, he put clean clothes on before we left and I couldn't even smell him. And I would be the first to call out any strange smells coming from my family. Food arrives, we eat. Alex must be, I think it's his son, right, that they alluded to, talks about the things the restaurant he works at is doing to improve things. Alex talks about how important social media is for restaurant success. Alex talks about things this restaurant could do to improve customer service. Kate, someone else in the family, leaves to use the restroom. Alex explains the cooking process for the sub where he works. I think about how much restaurant owners could learn from my 18-year-old. I think about how awesome Alex would be as a waiter and how making $9 an hour washing dishes is really selling himself short. I think about how much I love that Alex knows not to serve undercooked food to customers. This is unrelated to the restaurant. I give credit where credit's due. 45 minutes later, we are greeted by our overly attentive waitress. See Ed DeBevick's attitude. We are catching on now. Ready for your check? More inner dialogue. Because it's Father's Day and I'm modeling politeness for my children. Oh, thanks for asking. The food was kind of okay. No, we don't need anything else. We've seen you 3 times. We get it. You want your money. We haven't complained. We haven't asked for anything extra. We need to leave and pay. Thanks. More inner dialogue. Sure. Name withheld because clearly she's having the worst day ever. Thank you for making our $80 lunch the, in all caps, best ever. So there's a couple sides of this. What do you guys think about all that, first of all?
So it reminds me of the restaurant with, what's it called? Is it like Dick's or something like that?
Six Resort.
Yeah.
They model it after that.
It used to be in Columbus, right near where the Blue Jackets play at Nationwide Arena.
Yeah.
It went out. There is one in Chicago, about 3 or 4 blocks from the office. But yeah, maybe this server was having a bad day.
It's like maybe they just didn't understand the concept of the restaurant itself.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to a restaurant that the both of you have both gone to, and they brought the drinks, and then forgot about us for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Been there.
Guess what?
Yep.
Still gone back.
Well, I had the
Because I know it wasn't. I mean, that person didn't make an effort to forget us. It was an accident. I get it.
I've had the experiences where people don't come back or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I don't know if I'm just wired differently or I just understand business. You can go on social media, you can do all this shit and all be vague and all that stuff. You're just bitching at this point.
Yeah.
You're just bitching. First of all, just don't go back. You know, they mentioned in the one review that they tried this other restaurant 3 times before giving up on it. It's like, why the fuck would you go back? Like, no one's making you go to these places. First of all, you can cook your own food. Go to Alex's place of business and order food there. Like, I mean, there's choices that you make, but it's like maybe they didn't act, you know, much like that initial post that we were talking about. They didn't actually interact with that person. They didn't make it known. But if you have that strong of opinion and you want to go out there and you want to advise people and all that stuff and basically sour someone's business based on their actions, you can actually, and Ray says a server's not allowed to have a bad day. I agree completely. I don't know if that person was having a bad day or not, or if they were busy, or if that's just the way that they work. You know what I mean? They're not going to come up. They don't have name tags on. They're not like, hi, I'm Steve. I'll be your waiter today. And let me tell you about the specials. That's just not how they work.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's not your restaurant. You know what I mean? That's not it. If you want to know the specials, fucking ask.
Yep.
Like, again, common conversational skills. Make sure that you're making your demands met if you go in there. And you can be polite about it, you can be direct, however you want to interact. But I'm saying, like, again, going back to the what the fuck's your problem, you can have that and be like, excuse me, I didn't catch your name. You might have to take the primary role. And if you don't like the fact that they didn't offer their name, I'm of the opinion, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't care what their name is, but it's like, if they don't offer it, I'm not offended. Cool. You ready? No, actually, I had a couple questions. What were your specials today? Do you have any specials? Do you have any happy hour drinks? I have questions for you. Now, if you roll your eyes and you give me a rude attitude, I do have a problem with that. And I am one, too, if it gets
Throw
to
it right back.
And I'm not going to say, hey, can I speak to your manager every time? But there was a time I was at a restaurant on the border, and the guy disappeared for literally 45 minutes. We sat there, we ordered it, and we were greeted with, we were there, 5-10 minutes before happy hour was over, and they basically said, by the time I put it in, you're not going to get it in time, so. And it's like, I can see a register right there. Like, you literally, I know you, I can go punch it in if you want to. Show me how to do it. But it's like, you had some rudeness there, and then all of a sudden we had this interaction, and then all of a sudden, tables around us, even like the guy at the table over here, he's like, dude, I would have left like 10 minutes ago. I don't know what's going on. Because they all picked up on it, because we're just sitting there like with empty waters and all that stuff. So eventually I went over to the manager, and I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but it's been about 40-45 minutes. We put our order in, we haven't seen our food, and also our drinks are dry. Is there any way you can send someone over? Because I'm a grown-up.
That's a great way to handle it.
I'm a grown-up, and I can fucking deal with it. And I thought the person had bailed. I thought they got sick, something like that, and something had fallen through the cracks. You know what I mean? And Ray says, you're not allowed to have a bad day. You're absolutely right, because that's what you do for a living. But then again, you have these people, and I don't know if that individual that wrote that fucking novel of a personal post, but it's like, I'm sure if I scan back farther enough, if I go back in their page, there's probably a point where this person couldn't stop asking us. They came by, they were asking us too many questions, they were doing this. It's like, they're just not doing it the way that you would run a restaurant.
Yeah.
And again, that's okay.
Yeah. I've actually asked to speak to a manager just to compliment how well the server did. Because I went to a restaurant, and it's one of those restaurants, it's a big name restaurant, you see commercials for it all the time. It's a chain restaurant, and it's one of those you kind of not expect, but you're like, yeah, if I get bad service, I know that's part of the deal. Just because it's a giant chain, it's not some local mom and pop restaurant that truly tries to care and to stay alive. They've got a multi-billion-dollar corporation backing them.
I think you should still at least make an attempt to have great service, though.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter what, you should attempt to have great service.
Those people that are going to be shitty, but
this was one of those that just absolutely stood out in my mind. Great service.
Yeah.
It so happened that we went there, and my wife was extremely thirsty, so They bring the glass of water, and my wife downs the entire glass of water in less than 30 seconds. The guy comes back 3 minutes later to take our order, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, your glass is empty." She goes, No, that's not your fault. Like, I took that glass of water like it was a shot.
It's not humanly
and chugged
normal.
it. That's not on you. That guy made a point to never let our glasses go below halfway the rest of lunch.
Right.
I mean, so he went above and beyond. And, that was one of those that stood out. If he had just been one of those that took my drink order, brought our drinks, took our food order, 15 minutes later, brought our food, checked, make sure our food was right, came back, brought us our bill, fine. Not a single problem with that whatsoever,
right.
Because that's what you get at most restaurants. This kid went above and beyond. I tipped him more than the bill was.
There you go.
Because it was so amazing to see that kind of service at a younger person.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it.
I think in today's world, kind of bringing it full circle, I always try to live by the golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
Treat others as you would want to be treated. Okay? And I don't think there are very many people at all who even know what that is or even have ever heard of it. I've had associates ask me what the golden rule is, and they just give me deer in the headlights. I'm like, well, the golden rule is you treat others as you would want to be treated. Still a blank stare. And I said,
God forbid they don't want to be treated well.
Well,
exactly. So
what about this? Treat others the way they're treating you. I've seen that happen too.
I personally always do my best to kill them with kindness, and if I want to be treated with sincerity, respect, and kindness, then that's what I'm going to give to that person. If they decide they want to be a complete fucking asshole and ignorant and this, that, and the other,
they want their way,
then that's on them.
Yeah.
That's their decision to make those types of remarks and make those moves. But I'm not going to let it affect me.
Well, there are some people that are so negative, it doesn't matter how much you try and kill with kindness.
No, and I agree. That's why I say, just do everything you can to be as kind as possible, because some people you will have those very select few who live their life in full negativity. But at the end of the day, you can be pissed off at the world or whatever it may be, and if you are nothing but nice to them, you cannot be mad. Like, at that point, why are you pissed? Like, this person's being nothing but nice to you. At that point, that's on you.
That goes back to the initial part of this
what
conversation.
What the fuck is your problem?
What is your problem, man? Get over yourself.
And it kind of touches into what Ray had said. I think sometimes in the retail or the service industry, you have to be able to flip a switch.
Yeah.
Like, if you're having a bad day, I get it, because we all have bad days when we don't want to interact with people. We don't want to be at work. We don't want to do whatever it is we're doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to flip that switch and just put on the facade that that you're having a good day, you are nice, and just do what you can to get through the day, and then deal with your shit when you leave.
And on the other side of that, that's the same thing as what we said initially as a consumer. Go the fuck home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't perform your job, then hopefully this is not a regular thing. So then you can actually.
Come back the next day with a different
an isolated incident. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, no, I don't have it in me to put on a smile. And this can be an office.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be retail, man. It's again going back to the internal customers. If you work in an office and you are having that day, that's what they call a personal health day or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It can't be every Friday.
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes back to
no
shit. Well, it kind of goes back to the episode. Was it last week when you guys talked about recentering, or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Even as an employee, sometimes you just have that bad day. You just need to recenter.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to go home. I want to leave early. Or hey, I need to take the next day off, or I need to take a day off next week. I'm getting burned out. I need to have my recenter, my refocus day, and deal with all the shit I got going on, so that way then I can come back to work, recharged, refreshed, ready to do my job with a great attitude. Right?
I like what William the Red, who joined us.
He just walked in the garage. He wants to be on a podcast coming up here
live
soon.
studio audience.
Yeah.
He commented, says, absolutely, one shouldn't sacrifice their own character to lower themselves to meet others. You know, I couldn't agree more with that.
That is great, Will.
You know, it just, kind of reiterates what I said about killing them with kindness, because you shouldn't lower yourself to another person's standards if they're going to be nothing but a complete asshole. Obviously, there comes a point where you're like, all right, look, enough's enough. You need to get the fuck out of here.
Well, yeah, you can mirror that, right, to a point. But again, don't lose yourself. Not even lowering yourself, but don't lose yourself. So you can be as nice as possible. And if they don't want to talk, that's fine. Don't talk to them. But when they do interact, hey, I need this, or I want to, try this on, or whatever it is, or hey, I want something else. Like, as long as you're available and you're around, you can give yourself a little bit of distance. You can interact at a certain amount of level as far as frequency and everything else. But it's just, again, it's when you walk out of your front door and you enter the public, it's not just about you. And I gotta tell you, if you are having that kind of day, maybe that interaction could bring you up. It could bring up your level a little bit. You can have that person in a store that's asking you about the weather and all that stuff, and ask you what your plans are for the day. If you say, no, I have no plans, or hey, I'm going to be, heading out on a vacation tomorrow or whatever it is. Oh, cool. Where are you headed? I don't see that being an annoying thing.
No,
they're
showing a genuine interest.
Talk about yourself.
They're showing a genuine interest.
And I tell you what, if it's not genuine and it's just them doing their job, and as soon as you walk out, they don't fucking care, that's fine. It made that 5-minute, 10-minute interaction a little bit more pleasant.
Yeah.
And there's no problem taking that energy from other people that's positive.
And so working in a cigar shop, I kind of take pride when I make a recommendation to a person and that person likes that cigar that I recommended.
Absolutely.
That's always a great feeling.
Absolutely. At this, kind of like when I picked this pairing. Yes, I'm glad we all like it. At the same time, I've also had, okay, what kind of cigars do you like? What kind of cigar are you looking for? Okay, this is what you like. Here's a cigar that you might enjoy. No, I had that. Fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let me pick something else for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like,
it hurts, but you got to swallow your pride.
It's like, all right, yeah.
You're like, all right,
it's like, well,
it's not for everyone.
But for me, it doesn't offend me at all. It's just kind of like, cool, man.
It's like, all right,
you don't like it.
I'm gonna brush it off. I don't sit there and engage that person like, well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because that was a top 5 cigar of the year 2 years ago, and okay, you don't like that one? Fine, I'll recommend something else.
So yeah, there was our neighbor, right? Fido had they have smoking sections, and then that's one of the biggest complaints with them. And again, this is just kind of hitting this one more time right there on the head. Is that I know there was a family in there, and they were looking they wanted to be on the patio, and they wanted to be in the non-smoking section, and then they made it known that they were absolutely appalled by the fact that the non-smoking section is surrounded by the smoking sections. And then it was like, no, we can go inside. No, inside smells too. And to a point, it's kind of like there's a couple options there from the establishment, right? And be nice the whole time, right? You have to be nice, but you're like, this is how we operate.
Yeah.
I can't change it just for you guys, but I understand where you're coming from, and it sounds like this may not be the best place for your family to have lunch, just because of the type of place we are. We actually embrace this culture or this atmosphere, and
because we'll have someone else for your table.
And that person then has a chance and an opportunity to say, you know what, I think we're going to go somewhere else.
Cool.
But more times than not, that person says, oh, I can't believe it. You're not going to make them put out their cigarettes or cigars, or you're not going to cater to me. You're not going to clear this whole place out just so I can you don't want my business. And it's like, no, actually, I would love to have your business, but it sounds like we're at a crossroads here.
I've had that happen.
You don't like
I
it.
feel like
I was like going into
the entitled ones.
Well, yes, but I'm saying it's like you go into a restaurant, you sit down, you look at the menu, and you're like, is this it? Yeah.
Well, what do you want? You want Cheesecake Factory's 60-page menu?
And that's the point. That's the point. is it's all about, again, once you walk out your front door and you walk into the world, you go into someone else's front door and you look at what they have to offer, it's okay to leave.
Yeah. I went to
or try something new.
I went to a restaurant once after I got off work at my old job, and they had an outdoor patio, and I went out there, ordered a pitcher of margarita and some chips and queso, lit up a cigar after I noticed other people sitting out on the patio smoking cigarettes.
Right.
And they sat, a family of 4, right in front of me. And I actually see the wife, who was kind of angled with her back to me, look at her husband and go, "I think someone's smoking a cigar." And I went, "That's me." And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not allowed to smoke this inside.
Sure.
So if you don't like the smoke, there's the door. Go back inside, because you have 2 options. I got 1.
Yeah.
Because the whole reason I am here is because I want to have a margarita and I want to smoke a cigar. I can only do that sitting right here.
Yeah, so
You can sit inside and enjoy your non-smoking environment, and it was the middle of the summer. You can enjoy air conditioning.
Well, yeah, William, who's in the garage, like we said, he's like, there are far more non-smoking restaurants than there are smoking. Pick one. And then Ray chimes in and says, "Why choose a bar to eat at? The smoke haters and the bad language haters love to sit at the bar with their kids."
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem necessarily if I'm there and I'm, we're all cursing and everything like that, and there's small children next to me. Again, maybe that depends on the mood I'm in. I may be like, hey, we got to watch our language a little bit, but at the same time, if I want to sit with my friends and this is how we talk, and we have as much right to be there as you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, I mean, we might try to skirt it back a little bit, but if I let out an F-bomb or say something, you brought your family in.
Take them to Chuck E. Cheese's.
Yeah. Hey, go to Applebee's.
That's one thing that I will say.
But I also curse at Applebee's. So.
That's one thing that I will say. Kathy and I, we don't do it a lot, but we swear and Cadence is around, but she knows she's not allowed to say any of those words whatsoever. And
there's another discussion with your own family.
Yeah, it's a whole nother discussion. And so that's where I think, if we do go to places, we're a little more lenient when it comes to that, because we make it a little bit known or apparent with her that you don't say that at all. And if you do, there's going to be repercussions. But I think I'd have to agree with Ray. There are so many people, and then, I've been at restaurants, and I've been to some with Kathy, and she's spent at least a decade in the restaurant industry as a server, as a restaurant manager, and everything in between, to where, we'll sit there and you see a family sit outside and they start complaining about either the smoke if we're outside or, the language, and they get up and they leave, and we'll both look at each other and like, you're the dumbass who brought your family here. You knew what you were getting yourself into. If you didn't do enough research on the restaurant, you didn't check it out beforehand. Like that's not my fault you decided to sit here, but don't bitch and moan about it. Like, so that's ultimately your decision. But
I kind of think so. In Ohio, we have a smoking ban, so you can't smoke inside unless it was a cigar shop that was grandfathered in. Unless your sales are, in Ohio, at least 80% tobacco-related products.
Well,
that's how we get away with being able to smoke.
80-20.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's how we get away with being able to smoke in the Tinder Box. One, more than 80% of our sales are tobacco products, and we were in existence before the smoking ban took place.
Is it really 80? I thought it was like 50.
It's 80-20 in Ohio.
Oh.
And like if you go to Kentucky, it's by county. Each county has their own policy. I think though that an establishment, let's say it's a standalone building, an establishment should have the right to have their own policy on that issue. If you're a bar that's a standalone building and you want to allow smoking, fine, allow smoking.
Right.
So no, if you're not someone that likes smoke, then don't go into that bar. I think bowling alleys should smell like an ashtray. I mean, so if you don't like it, don't go there. You have choices.
You can go at 2 o'clock in the afternoon where
you can either
don't show up.
Yeah, you can either go to a different restaurant that doesn't allow that stuff, or you can stay the fuck home and make your own dinner.
Yeah, make your own bowling alley.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Actually sounds fun.
It does, yeah. A lot of arts and crafts.
I don't have that kind of money.
I will say this, going into this, I think this is the time where we want to get into closing remarks, and so I do want to, at this point, thank you everyone for tuning in. We've got a little bit left to go over the closing remarks on the topic, and also I've lit up. I think, are we all on the Montecristo White?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, again, goes really well with this. Man, this is that
I've always loved the Monty White.
Yeah.
It was one of the first cigars I ever
Absolutely.
purchased, thanks to Steve. And ever since I bought that and had it for the first time, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, so thank you Altadis for sponsoring the podcast and providing us with the second weekly cigar every week, which is right now, again, the Montecristo White Series, Ecuadorian Connecticut as well on this one.
So they were both Ecuadorian Connecticut?
But this has Nicaraguan and also Dominican tobacco, so
That's
slightly different blend. Yeah, exactly. So it goes well with that. Thank you to Nate for bringing on both of the ryes. It's amazing that you guys, you did that, and for the suggestion of the pairing. Dustin, thank you for being on. Always a pleasure having you on, for sure.
I always love being on.
I know you do.
I really do.
I know you do. And so thank you also to Tinder Box for the first cigar, the CLE Chele. Thanks for Nook and all the CLE guys out in Vegas watching in the booth out there. They're wrapping up their trade show. So of all things they're doing, Nook had this playing in the background and was interacting, so he showed that he was actually paying attention as well. So get back to work if you are.
Hopefully they all shared it.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. So thank you guys all. And then BS Cigar Company, again, BS Silvers are back in stock. We're working on the golds, so hopefully you'll see something coming up in the near future. Working with a few factories on trying to get that reblended and having that consistency.
Any updates with that, or is it still kind of under wraps?
Well, we're waiting for them to all get done with this. This is a big time of the year for all the cigar manufacturers.
Yeah, it's
so
huge.
It's kind of on the back burner for another few weeks, so we'll work on it. Hopefully by, honestly, I'd say hopefully by Christmas time.
A lot of companies,
is where we'll do that.
From working on that side of the industry, there's a lot of companies that 2 weeks before the trade show and 2 weeks after the trade show, they don't ship anything.
Nothing.
They're just stockpiling so that way they can fulfill show orders.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we're a small fish in a big pond, so hopefully the BS Cigar Company will have some great things. Scott Woogie says BS Silver is it. So, again, Woogie, we got the Silver Rabito in, which was the event only for the Smoking 10 Event 7. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that if you weren't at the 10 event. William's smoking a Rabito right now, it looks like. Fantastic.
Silver.
It's a silver. But yeah, so again, closing remarks on any of the cigars, the whiskeys, anything. And again, what the fuck is your problem? We talked about it quite a bit tonight. Nate, you want to start the closing remarks?
Oh, I can try. So, I mean, we've kind of talked all over I guess you could almost sum this up as like a customer service topic,
Yeah, we dove into that mostly. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're having a bad day, I mean, you can go out in the world and be out in people and yet still be alone.
Yeah.
But you still run that risk of having an interaction. Yes, that server or that whoever's working at wherever you're going, they may need to have a switch to where if they're having a bad day, they put on a happy face and they're acting like they're glad to be there, they're glad to take care of you. But on the flip side, so do you.
Yeah.
You may be having a bad day. Don't take it out on that person because that person's not the one causing your problem.
Yeah.
They're not the source of that. Chill. Like, take a step back. The reason you're going out is to get away from things, to relax a little bit. Maybe that's your retail therapy.
Or you might need something.
You might, yeah. I mean, maybe
God forbid you actually need something.
Maybe that's your retail therapy. Well, guess what part of retail is? Customer service. There's going to be interaction. Don't take offense to it because they're just trying to do their job.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sitting there probably making minimum wage or not much more than that. Take it easy.
Yeah, they might be making minimum wage. They might be making a lot more. You don't know.
Yeah. So sometimes, yes, does that person need to change their mindset? Yes, but sometimes so do you too. And one of the things that I kind of written down that I kind of thought about earlier when you were talking about, leaving honest reviews. Sometimes honest reviews, even if they're not 5-star, sometimes honest reviews can help too. Yes, we all want 5-star reviews, but if you have a polite suggestion, and I emphasize the word polite, if you have a polite suggestion on how things might operate better, then fine. Make a comment, say something, but there's no reason, there's no need to just sit there and tear people down. I think some people get off on tearing other people down. They get off on that negativity.
Oh yeah.
It's a power trip for them. They go on, either social media or Yelp or something, and they intentionally write a bad review. There have even been cases where people have written bad reviews and they never even set foot in that place.
True enough.
Or I remember one of the ones I read, there was a party that went to a restaurant, and there were 60 people in their party, and they complained that the food wasn't out in 20 minutes.
Right.
Well, we can just start bringing it out as it is. That way those people are eating and those people are not. Is that going to piss you off more?
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of times they haven't worked in that industry either.
Yeah, exactly. If you've never, I think everyone should at some point in their life work in the service industry, be on that side of the table.
Yeah.
Because if you've never been on that side, you have no idea what they're going through or what their job entails.
Sure.
You think you know, but you don't. You don't know what their job actually entails. You don't know how many tables they're actually dealing with. If you go to, let's say you go to Fido's and it's during the World Cup and there's slam, and you sit there and go, yeah, I didn't have my food in 10 minutes. Well, no shit, they're packed. If you go into Fido's on St. Patrick's Day,
yeah,
and it takes you more than 5 minutes to get a beer, well, gee, I wonder why. Probably because they have 300 people there.
Sure.
So
it's busy.
Yeah, it's busy. I mean, it's not personal. They're not doing it to try and piss you off. So take a step back, grab control of your emotions, calm your tits. Just
calm your tits.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
T-shirt.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I do.
I said it today before this at work. So if you're having a bad day, it's not that server's fault. Put on phase. If they're trying to interact, you, like Steve said earlier, you can either choose to interact with them, or you can choose to handle it in a mature adult way and be like, you know what, I'm having a shitty day.
I just don't want to talk to you.
If I need you, I will come find you. Don't hound me. Don't shadow me.
Yeah.
Just
say it in a nice way.
let me do my.
Considerate.
You can be nice about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I got.
Dustin.
So I guess to start off, I want to say thank you to Nate for bringing the Mastersons and the Ezra Brooks Rise. Both were fantastic.
Yeah.
The pairing was phenomenal. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
The Montecristo White series again, amazing. If you've not tried one, I highly recommend it. Even if you tend to steer away from milder cigars and you go towards the medium, try it.
Yeah.
It is a milder / medium cigar.
It's got kind of a natural sweetness when it burns too.
It does. It has a natural sweetness, but it does come with a little bit of spice. Unlike the classic series, which looking at the two, you would think kind of polar opposites, because the classic is just I think a shade darker when it comes to like the wrapper color.
It's a little bit lighter.
It is. It really
milder,
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one thing I will say, not to cut you off about the White series, one time I showed up Saturday at the Tinder Box, I lit up the number 2, which is the Torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
After I lit it up, I was like, you know what? I need to get a cup of coffee. I went next door to Fido's, ordered a cup of coffee. They still had to brew it. I got my cup, came back to the Tinder Box. My cigar was still burning.
Yeah, construction's always phenomenal.
I didn't have to touch up with the lighter. I picked it up, started puffing on it, huge plumes of smoke.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic cigar, top to bottom.
So, again, great pairing. If you're out there and you want to, open the wallet a little bit, definitely look for the Masterson.
75 now in Ohio.
75. If you happen to go by the last call, if you don't know where it is, look it up.
Yeah.
Swing by, pick up you a bottle of $13 Ezrabrook Rye for a great value at Neat.
$13 for this week only.
This week only.
Then it goes back up to $15.
Oh Lord, that is $2. I don't have those extra $2 to spare.
I want
But
$2.
Again, I recommend anyone trying any of the bottles that we do feature if you are able to get your hands on them. When it comes to store picks, it is a lot more difficult.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring these, because the other 3 cigars that I mentioned to Steve to possibly bring on were all store picks.
Yeah.
In the bottles, yeah.
Yeah, so part of me wanted to bring something that people could find. The Masterson's was in a lock case at Wyland's. I've seen it at other shops not in a lock case, so it might be on the shelf, might be in a lock case.
Just gotta look.
Ask.
Yeah, just gotta look. But for the topic, really, Nate, you hit the nail on the head. If you've got something bothering you, if it's going to drag you down for that day, maybe refrain from going out into society if you know it's going to hinder you. If you don't know it, then I guess you need to reevaluate yourself if you do have those difficult interactions. But on the flip side of it, if you are someone who's out there who deals with those difficult people who may be having a difficult day or going through some shit or just a negative person in general, do not take it personally. I've worked in various stores where I've had associates who do take it personally. They get fired up, so I have to have that separate conversation with them. But really force yourself to go out into this world and battle it with kindness. It's not an easy road to do, I promise you. But if more and more people will go out with an open, positive mindset, we've had that topic of stay hungry, stay positive.
Yeah.
I really believe you've got to stay positive. I've got a lot of shit going on in life, a lot of new, great, wonderful, amazing things. And, a couple things out there that maybe not so much, but I still have to get up every morning and have a positive mindset with the day and focus on the things that are good. If you focus on the things that are negative, which it's much easier to do, then it's going to drag you down. I don't know the actual statistics, but I know there are psychology studies out there that say that 10 times to 1 or something along those lines, something high, 75% of people will spread negative experiences or opportunities that they've had more so than the positive ones.
Sure.
So why not flip the script?
Absolutely.
If you have a fantastic experience at a restaurant or at a retail store, whether it be the Tinder Box or your local grocery store or your local the clothing store that you go to all the time, make it known.
Do you ever do those comment cards?
I do.
I do it every year when I go out for my birthday. We always go to the same restaurant.
Only on your birthday?
Yeah, and unless I'm out and that server does whoever that associate is does a job that absolutely blows my mind. But where I go,
I think even the ones that don't blow your mind, but that still are the ones that stand out to you.
Yes.
They didn't go above and beyond, but yet they gave you a great service. They did a great job. You still need to make it known because they do have a job to do. And maybe they have their own shit that they're going through, but at that moment when they clocked in, they put on that face. They did their job. They did the best that they could with what they've got going on. They still need to know about it.
Right.
Because a thank you and a pat on the back and, hey, I appreciate what you do.
That goes
I
a long
appreciate
way.
what you did. Goes 10 times to 1 much longer. And that's one thing that I appreciate with the store that I'm at now is the type of management style that I have is I'm the type of person that, hey, if I ask you to do something like, hey, thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I don't say it just to say it. I say it because I mean it.
how do you deal with that with a store as large as a national grocery store that you work at versus like Steve, you manage 5 people. at the Tinder Box.
Yeah.
I mean,
you make it a part of your day. You make it a part of you. You make it a part of your routine. You make it a part of your style, your personality, everything. You know, you just, when you come in, and sometimes it is a struggle if you've got other stuff going on, other stressors outside of work. And it was one thing that I struggled with at one point is you got to leave it at the door. But, you know, when I go into work, if I want to succeed, and the best way for me to succeed is I want everyone else that works for me to succeed, is I need to make them feel appreciated.
Sure.
Because if I make them feel appreciated, and even if I help them out even a little bit, they'll walk on clouds.
Oh, absolutely.
So
positivity goes a long way.
it really does, and people don't understand the contagiousness of that in today's world because there's so much negativity that's out there, whether it be the media or social media or whatever it is. So really use that positivity in yourself to push it out there. And Kathy got me one of these T-shirts from Cadence's preschool where it says "Kind is the new cool." And it's pretty cool.
I like that.
But it really is, because it's not something that you see very often. So push it out there.
I like it. Yeah, I'll piggyback off of all that stuff and kind of say it maybe a little bit differently. But when we go back to, I've already talked about the cigars and whiskeys, but you know, what the fuck is your problem? We are now in a day and age where I will say this to everyone out there: stop being offended. It's getting fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
Jesus, I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a different viewpoint. It's okay to be different. It's okay to walk into an interaction and not be on the same page as every fucking person around you.
Get over yourself.
That's all right.
A cigar shop and a bar is not a safe space.
Not that, but I'm just saying, like just at a crosswalk in a city, like someone asks you how the weather is, like, yeah, great. It is nice. You're right. I wish I had sunglasses. I forgot them at home. Like, it sucks, but
I used to have a boss that couldn't figure out why someone in an elevator in St. Louis was asking him about his day.
that's what I'm saying. It's the same
He's
thing.
like, wait, you don't, why are you asking me about my day? Because he's not from the Midwest. He's not used to that.
So the point is that stop being offended by people that are or have different attitudes with you. People are different, and everyone has their own agenda and is having their own day. Again, I go back to what I said earlier as my closing remark. If you choose to walk out your front door, then figure it out that there are other people out there. And if you don't want to talk to people, that's fine. If they want to talk to you, handle it like a fucking adult. Like, realize that they didn't just ruin your that because of that. Like, that isn't what happened right there. That's just not how it is. And it goes back to that communication. We've had podcasts that are solely focused on communication, and I think that's part of this. Is that what really scares me to a point. I love all the benefits of being able to shop online, interact online. I mean, the tool that we have in the internet is absolutely fantastic. We've shown that from a commerce side, from a things that you need side, it's absolutely a dramatically impressive tool. But you still need to realize there's people behind all of that. There's people that, if you don't like the way that someone does business, you have a choice to go somewhere else. Now, if you feel like there's a cause behind it, that they're discriminating against you, that's fine. You want to have your voice heard, that's fine. I don't know if it's just people getting offended. I mean, I'm not going to take it down that rabbit hole in the closing remarks, but when it comes down once again to someone talking to you about your day or how are you doing today, or how about this weather? Yeah, sometimes it's annoying. It's just like someone that comes in, you're like, hey, how you doing today? Oh, living the dream. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? But that's just like that social interaction, because a lot of times how are you doing today is the same thing as hello.
Yeah.
It's small talk. It's okay.
It's an icebreaker.
It's okay. Relax. Stop being offended. Stop having a problem with every little thing. And if you do have that, fucking fix it, because it's absolutely miserable. That's a miserable well-being that you are in at that point, and realize that, so that you can actually feed off of, as Dustin was saying, you feed off that positivity, the positive reviews, or just the fact that you did your job. And I'm not going to give you a 3 out of 5 stars because you did your job, the food was good, and I mean everything was as expected. That's not a good feedback. That isn't good.
No.
You need to just put yourself out there and realize that small talk can be communication and it should lead to other things, and you never know what you're going to learn from someone. It could be a complete stranger that if you open yourself up to even small talk, that communication, it can bring upon something a lot bigger and greater that can feed into other things in your day and your week and your year, and you never know what you're going to learn from someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well said.
So with that, I will say thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you guys for being here. We got whiskey in our glasses, right? Some rye whiskey.
Yes, sir.
And I will say cheers. Happy Whiskey Monday. Happy 4th of July. Happy Canada Day. But yeah, enjoy this week, the holiday week. I hope you guys are grilling out or doing something fun, watching fireworks, being among family and or friends. Or if you're just by yourself, tune in every week. We're here for you. Cheers, guys.
Be safe.
Happy Rebels Day coming up on July 4th.
There you go. Thank you, Facebook. I'm going to turn it off now. We don't have the producer.
Yeah.
He's on the camera.
Our producer's
today,
right
so.
here instead of behind the camera.
Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, and follow the page and the video.
And leave a review.
5-star preferably.
Preferably. But like I said.
No, but leave a 5-star.
Yeah.
Fuck you if you don't.
Whoa.
Kindness.